Welcome back to the last week of the show over here for Market Movers. Arun's here for us, so make sure you guys bug the crap out of him. This is our last day with him. Annoy him with every single question you have, and I for sure will, because I won't be able to pick his brains anymore. So let's have fun, let's all make some money, and let's dive into the market. Arun, what's going on with you today?
Oh man, there's been a lot happening. Today's been quite an exciting morning for me. There was a time where, because I am in some futures positions, or I was in a futures position earlier, and there was a keyboard error. I had made a mistake with the keyboard. So here I am sitting, and all of a sudden orders come in. I'm like, oh no, that's a lot more than I want, especially at these prices. And the market fell off, and I was like, oh crap, I'm in trouble. Anyways, we fixed the issue. No damage more than that was expected. So we're back to normal now. Everything's sitting pretty. And you might be surprised from the last 2 days where I've been very, very active on stocks. Not as much today.
No, really?
No,
I can't wait to see the blotter.
My board is going to be a little bit empty relative to the last few days. So be prepared. If you guys are expecting a lot of stocks on the board, not today. I took, some days you get a lot of names that set up. Some days you don't get a whole lot. So today, in my case, we've got a couple positions. Can you throw it on my board
For
there?
sure.
You see
it.
Oh,
it's empty
yeah,
today.
It's empty. MCO is a nice winner there, $6.42. I've already cashed some of this on the way down. And then PayPal, sitting on this all morning, out 42 cents now. We've had quite the ride with PayPal. We've been short. We've been out like $1.50, 60. And then we've been flashed in the money like 20, 30 cents. And then here we are, kind of back out 50 cents. So that short's in play as well. I've gotten some out. I've got, that's not the only two trades. I've made about 3 or 4 other trades, and I will go through them as I talk about it. But in terms of futures, let's talk real quick about the futures. Now, when I came on this morning, I was talking about, oh, you know what? There's potential location of fade into a little, this area right here against this 35. What I started noticing as we were going into the open was that I was initially short, right? So I'm like, oh, I'm gonna fade this into this move right here, like I said in the morning. And then I started noticing that there was a decent amount of buy-side activity coming in, and the sells were getting weaker, and we were starting to rotate around this 90 level. And on top of that, I noticed yesterday that there was some heavy buying late in the day around 90. So I know 90 is gonna be an inflection point, especially after seeing how we traded this morning. So I decided, you know what? I'm starting to see information that's not going to help my case with the short. Maybe the fade is going to get weaker. So let's move out of the short and into a long, and that's what you see here. My long here at 45.01 is my average price right now. Well, 1.5 points in the money. We're still waiting. This trade might take all day, so it will not be exciting. But when it does get going, it'll slowly start creeping up. If we get out, or if it doesn't work out, we end up losing on this trade. If it crosses 85, that's been my marker all morning. So if we get below 85, we'll take the 15 point hit or so. It'll probably be 20 points by the time I actually get out of it, because I kind of don't get out right away. I wait to see how we trade. So I'll probably lose 20 points or so on this position, but I'm okay with that. Between what I've seen and what my initial thought process was on the short, I'm okay taking the long, and if that ends up losing, that's perfectly fine. So we'll take that shot, see if we get a winner there. MCO in the money 6.5, and PayPal doing absolutely nothing. Brad, have you taken anything today?
Yeah, I did. So I had a couple trades on Microsoft today, though my starting trades to begin with. I was going to defend the 300 level. So I was looking at the dailies for Microsoft over here. I recognized the 300 level so strong over there, but obviously I had a very poor stop on it. I don't know why I didn't give it a proper stop on this. So the first entry I scalped out, then I got back in, and then the poor stop made me get stopped out, obviously. So I got back in at the low over here, and I was like, let's give it a proper wiggle room for it to play around in. And then that wiggle room allowed me to take a win. Obviously, I broke rule number 1. I was a little scaredy cat, and I took both my profits out.
I just noticed, because of the chat, before you continue with that, I just realized that apparently Market Movers is sponsored by Adidas today.
Hey, yesterday too. Yesterday, today. Oh, well, yeah, you and me
too.
I see that. Yeah.
I was in the Trader TV hoodie, and then today we both show up with Adidas. Yeah, I guess we're unofficially sponsored by Adidas. So Adidas, hey, shout out. But yeah, go back to what
yeah,
you were
no
doing.
problem. That was actually a good catch. I don't know who caught that. Good job, chat. But so Microsoft, still defending that 300 level, I guess. I'm not in it at the moment, but very happy to see 300 hold up. Lower did 298.30. Actually, that 298.30 comes from this dark pull candle, I believe. So ignore that. The actual lower day being slightly above 299. And what did I just get stopped out on something? Looks like Peloton just stopped me out on my long. So let's go check out Peloton. Peloton, I was looking short first, and then I went long afterwards, and then I scalped some wins on this long. Now it looks like Peloton might just take out that support that I was going to play short off of. Wait, where do my charts go? Wow, that looks strange. Looks like everything disappeared for a second. But here we go. Peloton, that support bottom over here looks like it's about to get taken out. And my question is, if I do go short, where would my stop be? So I would still have to evaluate that. I'm not sure how I want to trade this. Maybe the break of 36 back through would be my stop, or even this range low 35.80 coming back to 35.80, coming back to 36 if I wanted to short this. But Peloton right now continuing its downtrend from yesterday. Gonna leave this trade alone a little bit, obviously. A couple other trades I have. My best one over here, and actually I was going in conversation with Arun about how to set up this trade, and even he said, good job on this trade. So I'm very happy with this one. Which one is this? Roblox. Why doesn't it not look like, okay, right here, the day's high was around 72.05. But I'm sure at $71, giving it the break of 72, basically these 3 days in a row, we could not break through 72 properly, and the high of that break was 73.11 or 73.42. So considering all those factors in and the weak market that we have thanks to the CPI number, I figured let's go for a short in 71, give it that wiggle room of the high a day, 71.50, which never came in. Still sitting in the short, $1.50 in the money. And Palantir kind of imploring the same idea, but I did not listen to Arun on this side. I was, wait. PLTR, not Peloton, sorry. The same idea, which is, the $14 level. But Arun, I did listen to him on the idea where it was really strong. So what I did do is I cut my basket by half instead of having the basket that I did have. So I cut my basket by half and I gave it the same stop. So hopefully he's not disappointed in me taking this trade even after having the conversation. I'm going to learn today. Another slipper coming at me from a different direction. But yeah, so these are my trades at the moment, guys. Looking for more opportunities. I have a order to get long on actually AMD at 118. Not sure if we're gonna get there at that lows today. Obviously 118 because of this range low. I would gladly love to support 120, defend 120 on AMD, but because of these lows on these candles, I don't think I'm going to defend 120. I'll wait till 118, 119 to get my fill on AMD.
Alrighty, let's go into some of my trades. So MCO, I'll go through MCO just because that one's actually the big winner that's still waiting to be. Actually, there's nothing to do with this one, but manage. That's it, right? So what I noticed that yesterday we were coming into this 350 area, we kind of failed. Well, we didn't kind of fail. We just outright rejected the high there around 355. So I'm thinking, you know what? If we get back underneath 350, there's a chance that we start looking at these 340s again, right? So I came in this morning, I'm looking at, once I see what the daily looks like, I'm like, okay, where can we potentially start looking for shorts? And I'm like, okay, if we open underneath 350, I have a chance, but let's actually try to get this under 348 though, because 348 seems to be the area where we've been really stalling out the last few days in terms of highs and lows in the afternoon yesterday and all that stuff. So waited, see if we got that close, not just close, but open and volume below, open and trading below 348. We got that right there. First rejection, I'm like, sweet, there's some buying. Now I know I picked the right location. And then second one, we took it out. I'm like, great. Now I can go for the short. Took the short, put the stop at 355. And then on the way down, I'm cashing out in the low 340s. So that's the read on MCO. And at this point, there's nothing else to do. I've already cashed out what I wanted to cash out in the low 340s. So now we're just going to manage it, right? And see if this wants to extend even further. If this wants to go towards 335, great. I'll put my stop north of 343, somewhere in 343, because it is thin, so I'm going to be careful about what I say. But it is going to be somewhere north of 343, and I won't rush the exit either. So we'll leave that alone. Futures falling off now. Oh, no. Okay, so that's not good. Futures might actually break through the bottom. This has been confusing all morning, these futures, because they initially were showing weakness, and then they started showing strength, and I guess now they're showing weakness once again. So that we may have to get out of this and go for the short now. I guess that's how the market wants to play this. Okay, we'll respect what the market wants to do, but we will keep an eye on the futures. If they take the 85s and they trade below the 85s, then we're going to have to be done with the long and work some shorts. Back to the short idea from this morning. PayPal finally starting to go. I guess when the futures market goes, PayPal starts to go as well. So that's a good thing to see. That's been out of the money for the most part. Now it's starting to go. And my whole thing with PayPal is this, is that we were kind of working this right here, this 120 area, right? So if we're working 120 and we finally are able to get underneath and kind of trade underneath, and then I come in this morning, I'm looking at the open, and we're getting a lot of hesitation near this 119, or at least close into the open. We're getting a lot of hesitation near this 119. I'm thinking, you know what? Let's fade this. Went for the short here, 119.25, and now here we are waiting for this to kind of work itself out. The stop is north of 121, by the way. So still waiting for this. What's up, Lucas?
Nothing. You're gonna try to fix your mic after. Right. I'll take over for now.
Take it. Lucas, you can.
Yeah, for sure. So people are talking about KAVL. I came in and I was like, ooh, looks like low floaters are back on the table, back on the dinner table. So we're going to have some fun talking about it. Look at that, 74 million shares at 11.12. For sure, we're going to see 100 million shares being traded on a stock whose float is not even close to probably 50 million. Let's go check. What is it, 11 million? Yeah, I remember seeing it. It was 11.23 million. Not a significant short float, obviously. KVL Brands Innovation Group. So low floats back on the dinner table here for whoever's excited about that. Let's go check out what this... AFRM at 50, say less. All right, let's go to AFRM real quick. AFRM coming down right now. Obviously, we saw what happened to AFRM yesterday, going all kinds of crazy moves. Someone's getting fired for that, right? It has to be. So let's go check out where AFRM is going. We'll go back to KAVL in a second. So this is the area I have marked up. If I am going long on AFRM, I have to give it almost a $2 wiggle room because of my shading over here. So based on that, what is that, 47, 48, 46.50. So if I do go long, I'm not giving it more than a 49.50 room or even $1 room to the downside, I guess. So let's see. It is SSR, remember. Day 2 SSR. Actually, no, we're actually SSR re-trigger. That means it's a complete new SSR trigger, and this will continue into Monday also. So you cannot short it by just like taking out liquidity off the bids. You have to wait on the offers for an uptick to get short. All that being said, I think we can get some nice longs off this 50 scalps. Eventually even get a move up to $52, $54. And if 50 actually breaks, we have probably a destruction time on AFRM. All-time low should be 46.50, and that was created on the 11th of May 2021. And we were pretty close to that all-time low, but it looks like we could just make a new all-time low here on this downtrend with the market and on AFRM. I'm really debating on if I want to take a long here. Today's low is 50.70. I could push a long here, right? Like and give it the whole dollar risk to the downside. I guess no. I'll be a little bit more patient. Push a T. Push a T on PayPal?
Push a short.
Push a short. Oh.
That's what the T shorts all. Come on.
I know push a T is, but I'm like, what does push a T mean? I'm so confused, but I get it because on our platform it says shorts or T. That makes sense. But yeah, here comes PayPal also. Sean with the call outs coming in hot, boy. 119. Let's see that 119 get taken out over here. Let me pull up PayPal. PYP. What the heck is going on? PYPL, there we go. 118.55 being the low of that range over here for a couple of days. If 118.55 gets taken out, obviously that's also another stock in danger territory. I'm just looking for my charts here. There we go. I'm okay with taking a long on PayPal here, actually. So let me take some entries here, see if they give me some shares. I don't want to take out liquidity. Looks like they're going to make me take out liquidity, so we'll just do it, and we'll ride the stock to the upside, obviously giving it the risk of all the way 118 break to the downside.
Oh, you're on PayPal on the short side?
PayPal long.
Oh, you're PayPal long. I'm
yeah.
PayPal short.
You're short. Okay.
What do you
got?
118.95. Okay, so you're underneath. you're sitting underneath 119.
Basically giving this daily daily low of 118.55 as my risk.
Yeah, it's a fair read.
Coming back to you.
All righty. Man, market is the market is confused, which is making me confused because now the read has flipped so many times from longs to shorts, and now I'm thinking, oh boy, we're starting to lose the long. Oh, okay. So I guess we're going to the short. I don't know. We're gonna wait a little bit more. I'm gonna wait for this 85. This 90 should hold. This 90, if it's gonna hold, this 90 has to do it. If this 90 can't do it, then we're probably moving down much faster. We got a lot of space to the downside too. So for now, we're on the long, and we're waiting for this 85 to hold. 90 should bring some volume. If that we lose that, then I've got to kind of reevaluate everything because the structure of this setup has completely changed. So it's still fluid, but we're hoping for a bounce there just because of the way that I've positioned. Anyways, couple positions that I've taken earlier, and this is not going to be a good look, but AFRM, I was trading AFRM, and I was in AFRM this morning, and this has to be one of the dumbest exits that I have done in a while. Yeah, that's my short, 54, faded that pre-market, and yeah, we just got out of the futures, by the way. So pre-market short at 54 turns out to be very near the high, and then we
Your mic is like fading off apparently, so maybe like chip it up a little bit.
Fading off? Oh my god. Guys, mics.
Okay, that's better.
All right, anyways, 54 short, bounce all over the place. Finally decided, you know what, I had enough. Got out at 53, like just under $1, and it decides that it wants to continue now. Now it wants to go. So here we are, like, okay, we're not participating in AFRM at this point. What else do we have? We had AMC as well. I was short on AMC. I walked away from AMC as well. Clearly, you know, not the best of decisions. Let's take a quick look at AMC. Oh, these futures are just... All right, let's take a quick look at AMC. Okay, actually, it's not that bad. So I was short just in front of 19. Was holding it for a while. It went as low as looks like 18.50 and change. And then once it bounced, and I'm like, okay, this short's not going to work anymore, at least for now. Walked away, made like 15 cents or something like that on this move. And then here it is kind of continuing on, now falling off. With the market gone and the market losing any sort of momentum to the upside, now you got to start looking for shorts. I think the market's pretty well defined what it wants to do, right? So now I've got to reevaluate my shorts and or reconfigure my shorts anyways. And we're waiting for that. MCO is still going well. AFRM, obviously, I'm not going to participate in at any point later on unless we get more information. And then that's about it. I haven't been very active. Apart from the futures, I haven't been very active. Giant buzz on the mic. Brad, you want to take this?
Yeah, for sure. Giant buzz on the mic. Ooh, I hope everything's fine with that mic. Looks like I got that read right on AMD. I'm glad that I'm not trying to defend 120. Obviously, going off the dailies over there, we do have some nice tails on those candles. What happened? Okay, I think that was Greg. But yeah, so nice tails on those candles showing all the way up to 118 or so. So I do have my order at near 118 to get long. Let's see if I can get that fill today. And obviously, if I do get that fill, we can ride a nice rocket to the upside for AMD, maybe back to 120s. Kind of upset with that AMD was at 130s, and now we're kind of, you know, back to 120s. Maybe obviously with this inflation changes, Fed is kind of backtracking a little bit over there. So with Fed backtracking, maybe we ease up a little bit on the market, but who knows? Maybe they're just backtracking a little bit so they can load up on the puts while the market's going up and whatnot, and then they just really come out with those rate hikes and everything. Obviously, these are all theory. These are all tin hat conversations. What we just need to do is look for levels to trade off of, and right now we're waiting on this AMD level. Microsoft probably still under 300. Back under 300 one more time, and it is indeed. So we could look for another long on AMD at some, not AMD, Microsoft at some point soon. I want the confirmation of the market to the downside. Looks like, you know, obviously market is down 1%, almost 1% on Nasdaq, and ES is down like 0.25, so a quarter of a percent. So I want to see that Microsoft really breaks 300 and does not come back to it in case I want to go short, because I would have got burnt if I took the break of 300, because if I didn't scalp it, then I would have been obviously burnt on it. So I don't want to get stuck in that position. I'm just going to be a little bit patient, see if this wants to get back above 300. Clearly, it's giving you a decent range right now to trade in, from 301 to almost 299.50. CCI still holding well, good outlook. CCI. Let's go check out CCI. What was that? Where'd you go by what? AFRM. Let's go check out where AFRM is going. AFRM is up, going to the downside still, obviously. Yeah, 50 was the low yesterday, and there was a ton of size on 50. If I do remember, actually, I'll show you exactly what I saw yesterday. Man, this TradingView thing is annoying the crap out of me. God damn it. Come on. Stupid software. TradingView, I'm gonna have to start shorting TradingView now. But basically, if I pull back on this chart over here, where's 50? 50, is that 50? No, that's not 50. That's not. Is that even yesterday? That was yesterday. How is that not 50?
Nope, that was 50.
Okay, maybe.
Yeah, 50.
Yeah, so on 50, there was about, I believe, if I remember, 600,000 shares or so just sitting there, and they all got filled. So we're back to that price point on AFRM. Let's see if we have any size there. There is some size there. Now, do we bounce off that size, or do we break that size and fail? Let's see if I can add a little bit more shares over here on AFRM, and then if that completely gets taken out, we're going to give it a dollar risk, remember, to 49. If 49 gets taken out, did I say 49? Let me go check again one more time. Finally, this one loads up. AFRM. I do have the shading up to 48.17, but these tails go up to 48.68. So let's just give it a whole dollar risk of 49, and if 49 gets taken out, we'll come back to it later. Arun, do you have anything for us, or you want me to continue?
No, I mean,
Yeah.
we got stocks to talk about. Hopefully this works. The mic, Lucas made some adjustments on the mic, so hopefully this is a little bit better. But yeah, we're not doing anything else. We've got the two shorts. The futures gotten taken out. I'm walking away. This is getting way too confusing for me on the futures. Like I mentioned, I was thinking long, then short, then went to the long. Or actually, I was thinking short, then flipped to the long, and then now I'm like, okay, well, do I want to go short? Anyways, it doesn't really matter. It's getting confusing. So when it gets that confusing, you step away, and we're just going to manage the two shorts that we have, and maybe at some point we'll get a read on the futures that's more cleaner. So all I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to sit back. I'm going to look at the chat, see what you guys are talking about. If there's a trade that I may want to take on these stocks that you guys are talking about, then yeah, Mike is still low. Okay,
Weird.
well, they're working on it. They're definitely putting in work, trying to figure out what the issue is. It's not balanced, right? So, mine is fine, and Prad is super loud.
I'm always super loud. I'm screaming at the mic, so I'm always super loud. Maybe they can turn me down a little bit on their end.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'm always screaming, so I'm always super loud. So nothing to do on that side.
There's I think there's a comment there from Loretta saying waiting, not trading, but sometimes waiting is trading. You don't need to always be hitting the key, because a lot of times, think about it, you position in, you get into a trade, and then what? You got to wait for it to move, right? If it does nothing, doesn't mean you get out. So that's part of the game too, right? You don't always have to always have to have your finger on the keyboard. Hey, MCO is up $8 because I've been waiting for this move, and we're just gonna let it go. So hopefully this market as a whole gives me some more information, and then I can make a play on the futures too, because I want some more than just two names on the short side, or even if there's a nice little long I can pick up, but I would rather kind of, just like I said, wait it out. So if there's something you guys are talking about, I'll take a look at the chat.
Maybe something you can help me here then.
What's that?
Maybe you can help me with something
right.
here then. So obviously you would not have taken this exit at 70.50 and at $70 on Roblox.
What's that?
Obviously you would not have taken these two exits that I took on Roblox. Right, this is like kind of incorporating a little bit of
you
scalping.
got in and then got out?
No, I got in on my short. I got a couple exits, and this is the exit that was kind of you and I planned together.
How much did you risk on the first for the short? How much did you risk?
The same out as all of it. Like
Which was what?
The 71.50 break.
So that's about how many cents?
50 cents.
So you risked 50?
Yeah. And my first target was a 50-cent target, then another 50 cent, then I gave it another $1 from there.
I mean, I like that second exit. I don't know about the first one, though. The first one seems like a little rushed. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's still too close to the high
For
to
sure.
get out, right?
So now basically you would move your stop instead of 71.50 to somewhere down here,
Yeah,
basically,
pretty
right?
much, yeah.
Perfect. So I'm just trying to learn your methodology over here a little bit. Kind of asking questions obviously is gonna help. So guys, take notes. What is going on? Are we getting spammed? Yeah, we gotta block some people here. We're getting spammed in the chat. Hold up. Bam. Hide this user in the channel. All right. Wow. Ignorant people. Anyways, coming back to this screen over here. Obviously, we know what these screens are gonna start off with. Only one name in the world. It's Nick Ganguly. Lobby and pay her a few million. She will get into anything you want. I'm guessing you're talking about Pelosi jokes that they were having. I think we need to make a slipper animation from Arun for Arun at this point. If Arun,
What animation?
a slipper animation.
Oh, boy.
That's gonna
Am
be
I
a
the
good
one who needs a slipper animation? Shouldn't it be you?
It's throwing at me.
Well,
but you were throwing at me.
I'm the one
kinda.
throwing it at you. Oh.
And then Adele Yassine, thank you. Neil Adele thanks you. And thank you, Arun, for all the valuable trading info. Hey, he's not done yet. Make sure you squeeze a little bit more info out of him until he's done
Still got
today.
about
He's
hour
still
and
here.
a half? No, two and a half hours. We still got about 2.5 hours. For anyone who's been missing Valeria, because even though we keep saying it, some people are still asking, or at least yesterday we're asking, hey, where's Valeria? She will be back on Monday, right? She will be back. You'll have her and Prad, the dynamic duo, back on Monday, and then you guys can do your thing. The way you guys have been doing it, just do your thing, right? So for me, I'll be here for another couple hours, just under 3 hours or so, and I'll go through your questions. If you have any questions that I can possibly answer, then I will. If I can't, then I'll let you guys know. Quick question. I'm just going from one of the most recent ones. What are the pitfalls for good slow-moving stock that is study going to the plus side? Okay, so I guess what if it's low volume and good, I guess going in your favor, you're long at 62.31. The problem with low volume stocks is that there's going to be a lot of slippage when you get out. So you just have to move your stops, but you really can't use hard stops on very low volume stocks because they tend to have a spread too, right? Let me quickly look at what the IRBT spread is. Yeah, I mean like 20 cents, but that's not too bad. But it's done 200,000 shares. So you got to be very, very careful on how. So have some targets, just like any other stock. If you're trading and it's low volume, have some targets so that as it's moving up. But my suggestion would be to kind of stay away from low volume names, right? Low volume names, especially from intraday. It's different if you're trying to like, go after like squeeze plays and whatnot. That's a completely different game. But if you're trying to trade it intraday, it's very hard to get in and out of because every time you post a share, every time you put something out, it's very hard. Now I've gone into positions where they're very expensive and they have spreads, but I can always sneak in there and not just iceberg some stuff, meaning I can hide the shares, but I can also put it through dark pools and whatnot. So I can get in and out as long as the volume is there to take it. On a low volume name, you iceberg something, meaning hide your shares. I can show you 100 and behind the 100, it'll be, whatever. As soon as the first few shares go off and the level doesn't go, people hesitate. It's not like the volume's going to keep going like other names. It's going to stop, and that's a problem if you can't really get yourself into enough shares that way. So I would suggest kind of staying away. AFRM's gone through 50, by the way.
Yeah.
Damn, AFRM. What a stellar entry on AFRM, and what horrendous exits on AFRM for me. Because the risk was like $2, and then I walk away with $1 after the nonsense. I'm like, after the 51.50, I'm like, do I really want to not chase, but do I really want to give this a chance to go towards 50? Based on the way it was trading below 52, I was like, nope. So I kind of walked away. What's the next question? I'd love to hear how setting an offset amount for slippage, risk reward, and how it can be set up and used in a volatile stock. What's the shortcomings relating to not being filled? Well, I'll answer that one first, because if you don't get filled on your initial entry, if the trade goes without you, meaning let's just say I wanted AFRM, let's say Let's use the other chart, actually. I'll use my e-signal chart instead. If I wanted a firm and less, what did I put that for? That was the futures chart there. Okay, if I wanted a firm and let's just say I put my offer at 55. Instead of 54, I moved it to 55, right? I left the order there. If I don't get the fill, this at some point, as long as the stock is going sideways, not an issue. I can still take that fill because the read is valid, right? It's just taking a little bit longer than you would have liked to get the fill. But if the move goes without you and you can start managing it, like if you had the position, you would already start taking some profit and whatnot. If you start managing the position and you're not in it already, then the trade's gone and you got to cancel your order, walk away, find something else, right? And so there comes a time when the trade or the order that you left out there that isn't filled, that's no longer valid. The window for that trade is closed, so you move on. It's just a matter of when does that happen. In my case, for me, once we failed like 52 like a few times, I just walked away from the trade. Clearly, a firm had more juice in it, right? So for me, if I had not gotten the 55 fill and we were stalling around 52, I would have just canceled the 55 because I'm like, this trade's over. Let's just walk away from it. So for now, a firm, if you're already in it, great. If you're not, walk away from it.
Sorry to everyone. My computer's for sure bugging out. I need to restart my computer tonight. I probably left it unrestarted for way too long here. So sorry to everyone who I told that the Sense was getting FDA approval yesterday or today. I'm sorry, I didn't think the thought would go up. I'm calling my buddy at the FDA, giving him a piece of my mind. Wow, Mike. Nah, you're good, bro. If someone took that call, obviously they have to do their own due diligence and not just blindly follow somebody in the chat. We got more people coming in with these spam accounts. Yo, take a break, bud. Go eat a Kit Kat or something. Take a break.
What happened?
The same guy who came in earlier with the really stupid username is probably back again. So I just had to ban him. Just take a break, buddy. Take a Kit Kat. Mark the Realtor, Penn, Donkey Kong, Super Bowl weekend should be epic. You're 100% right. Obviously, I don't know anything about football, but I will be watching it along with the football and Super Bowl. What I will be watching is the champion, Israel Adesanya, the style bender himself, going to war against Robert Whittaker. I don't know if you're into UFC, but that's going to be a big, big fight. Here are the bets that Champagne Poppy, Drizzy Drake, Audrey himself is going to be making. So he put, what is it? Winner, what is that? What is iron, including overtime? Yeah. Winner including overtime, Los Angeles, and that he put 600,000 to win 900,000.
It's 1.5.
And then he put in 500,000 on Odell Beckham getting
62.5.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he put Odell Beckham. What is that?
Over 1.5 anytime. I don't know what anytime touchdown. So
what does over 0.5 mean though?
I don't know. I'm not a gambling man. I thought you could only get one touchdown, not half a touchdown. Unless someone knows unless someone knows more about what this 0.5 anytime touchdown. So anytime during the game, is it before, over, maybe the half, after the half?
Yeah,
I don't know. Someone needs to explain this.
I don't know football to know what the bet is, but he bet 500,000 to win 1 mil, 500,000 to win 905, and 600,000 to win 906. And basically, all of this money he won off of playing roulette. He won $2 million on roulette recently, and he just took that full $2 million and just put it on the sport. So what a ballin' guy out there, I guess. When you're rich like that, you ain't gotta worry about it. AFRM stopped me out, going much lower. There goes AFRM. So we tried our first long, which obviously didn't work out. We're gonna leave that stock alone. My goodness, what's going on with the software today? All right, I'm gonna throw it over to you while the software loads up.
Okay, so yeah, 0 over 1.5 is just at least one touchdown is what it means. Right?
At least one touchdown.
I was gonna say, I'm like, you can't get a half a touchdown. So
yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, betting lingo over 1.5. Apparently, Jamar Chase has 1.5. That means he needs at least 2, based on what Daryl Finch is saying. So there's a lot of bets being made. I mean, this is what people live for when it comes to gambling, right? These big games.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the lines will change. And LA has personal preference. Regardless of how you feel about it, I feel like LA deserves to win, and the only reason I say that is because of Matt Stafford. I don't care about the rest of them. I just feel like Matt
Because
Stafford.
of what?
Matt Stafford, their quarterback.
Okay.
Right? I feel like for a guy who's stuck it out in Detroit for so long, and his team has been absolute trash, for him to finally be in an environment where he's able to do well and showcase what he has and have a winning team around him, I think he deserves to win. Now, Joe Burrow, he's young. That team also hasn't had that much success in the last little bit until he came along. So you can argue that case as well. But for this, because he's still young, I feel like Burrow's still young. So he still has so much left in him. Matt Stafford's been around for a while. So for me, that's kind of my take on the whole thing. Because I know LA has so many stars too, right? They have like stellar defensive linemen. They have a corner who's got a big mouth, but apparently he can play. That's up in the air. He's decent, but I don't know if he's as good as he believes he is. And then you have Odell Beckham. You have Cooper Kupp, who will be the primary target, regardless of how Odell feels about it. He will be the primary target. So it'll be a fun game, definitely, because as we've seen in the playoffs, it's been quite exciting in the last little bit. So we definitely will see some activity and some action in this game, and everybody wants to see that Super Bowl halftime too, though. That halftime, oh man, that's a crazy halftime show.
There's some crazy words being thrown out about that halftime. People are like calling it satanic and whatnot. I'm like, dude, it's just a bunch of people doing their job. Let them rap, let them have fun. Like, what's with all these crazy terminologies being thrown around? Like, if you don't want to watch it, don't watch it. What's with you knocking down other people? Like, people just have every reason to knock other people down these days.
For what?
They'll just find a reason.
Oh, yeah.
They'll just find a reason to knock people down.
Oh, someone said, like, am I saying Joe Burrow doesn't deserve to win? No, what I'm saying is that Stafford deserves it more because of his situation for the last decade. That's the only reason I'm saying that. It's not about, Joe Burrow will have his time. He's really good too, so he will have his time. It's just Stafford's been in such a crazy environment for the last little bit that he's finally where he's finally where he can show off a little bit. So hopefully he does. And even if he doesn't, hey, he's going to be there. There's a lot of contracts. The contracts for each of these guys is going to be ridiculous, eh?
This guy loves me, I swear to God.
Which one?
This spammer who just keeps making
you're dealing
new accounts. I'm dealing with the spammer today.
Yeah.
He's in love with me.
Baba Yaga, what's this guy on about? What a waste of time. Let's hear about stocks. Why don't you tell me about stocks? Because I've got nothing. So put it in the chat. If you have ideas, put it in the chat. I'll take a look at them because the stocks that I'm on, you can see them. They're doing just fine. I don't need to keep harping on MCO and PayPal because they will move, and they are starting to move. As you can see, the market's starting to go. Now, we got out of our long, and I really wish that I hadn't gone to the long and just stayed on the short side, obviously after the fact. But here we are waiting on this market to kind of now give me a fill on the short side for the futures.
Iceberg AFRM.
AFRM? Where
Iceberg AFRM 49.
49 even right here.
Yeah,
you guys can see that. Right here, there's going to be what's showing as 17,000 shares. But you said it's iceberg, right?
Yeah.
Right here. We're going to see it. There's going to be more than just whatever's there. See? It's getting small.
Oh, it got wiped out this time.
It's all over the place, back and forth.
No, for the first 2 rounds, it kept refreshing, but it got wiped off this time.
So that's what we mean by iceberg. When we talk about iceberg, is that there's shares there, but sometimes there's more shares than what's visible, right? So you can keep hitting the level, and it'll show like 5,000, but then more than 5,000 shares will be traded at that level and still wouldn't move. So that's what we're talking about right now on AFRM. There seems to be a lot of interest around that 49.
I'm still holding my PayPal, even though it is going down. I'm giving it that proper wiggle room. That 118 break technically should be only holding it till that 118.15, if I remember correctly. 118.50, sorry. That was my line. Yeah, 118.55 is my line in the sand. But we're going to give it another 50 cents from that line in the sand to see if it actually breaks properly. And obviously incorporating a little bit of the Yoda taught me, which is forget the half dollar. Look at the even dollar pretty close to your level. So 118 being the even dollar right next to my level over there. We're going to hold on to it. Out of the trade 65 cents, our Roblox is actually going deeper and deeper in the money. money. So I think I might have to remake my stop now to somewhere here, I guess, to the break of 69 instead of the break of 69.50. So let me delete that stop there, remake my stop eventually for when 69 comes back through 69. That is, I am done with my trade. Roblox, my number one trade of the day. Number one trade of the day. And then right after that is Palantir, which I'm not holding anymore. Obviously, I thought Palantir would be kind of done over here with this downwards move, but obviously I expected the same thing with the market. Market looks like it's not getting ready to go to the downside. AFRM, we got back in leaning on that iceberg, which obviously got taken out. So that was a little bit of a gamble too. But if you look at the support on AFRM that we were previously leaning on, which was at 48.62. So getting back in at 49, giving it that 50-cent risk again, I'm okay with taking that trade. This time I took a little bit of a less size than I previously did. That way, I'm not gonna give back more money if in case I was wrong on the trade the second time.
All right. Yeah, there's a question I do want to answer. Anonymous, I see your question. I saw it before. I just never got around to answering it. And this is a pretty important question. When looking at identifying new zones, what do you look for? A big reversal, a pivot high, or do you use old levels? And when do you disregard? So what I like to look at for figuring out new levels is that I guess what you mean by pivot is also like somewhat of a change in direction, right? In this case, when on our way down, actually, let me move it down from the 60-minute chart. When we're on our way down from the high here yesterday, when we bounced off the CPI number, after coming down, we bounced back up. On our way down, I'm looking at, you know what? Okay, I know I want to play in this area. That's going back a few weeks. I know, or actually in a couple weeks, and so is this area going back a couple weeks. We're inside the middle, right? As we're moving down, I start to notice that, hey, you know what? We also had 4,500 as a level too. That was inside the range. So we're bouncing, and then we finally break 4,500. And I'm thinking, you know what? If we lose 4,500, and this was a great short yesterday, that was good for 20 points. If we take that out, I can go for the short, but I'm still within the range. So I have to trail this properly, meaning I have to manage this properly, right? So if I were to take the short, I know I have to manage this properly. Where can I possibly put the stop? I initially thought it was here, but actually, the level I would like to use is actually up here. The reason being, obviously, the bounce off the CPI around 9:15 or so, actually like half an hour after the CPI came out. And even on the way down, we're stalling out around 20 to 25. So I like to give a little bit more flexibility, more than just the exact level. Like I would look at 25, but I think it has to be more than that. So I'm going to 35 because, hey, on the way down, initially we flashed down to what, 31.50 at about 12:45, between 12:45 and 1. So that's why I'm pushing it to 35. Now on the way down here, we should get some support around 70. But if we were to come back above 90, it's going to be a problem. So I would say 95 would be a problem. So what I'm looking for is, last time we stalled out for a while, and I'll start using those levels as locations. The reason I chose 40, this whole zone, is because look at what we were doing going back into late January. There was a lot of action here in late January around this 44.40 going down to 43.95. So I'm using that as potential support. And then going up here, I'm going back to about mid-January, around 45.80 going up to 46.20. That's, you know, we really are stalling out here. I'm flipping through different time frames just to show you what I'm looking at. These time frames don't matter because you're going to see them on every chart anyways. So, and at what point do you disregard the levels? When, for me, if we've started developing new action on the daily, then I can walk away from these levels. Like for now, I'm going back as far as about a year ago, about February, right? So it's all about time value too. The more recent levels have more volume associated, or not more volume, but they have more relevant volume associated with them. So I would just look at those, I would prioritize those levels before any other level I would look at. So the 46.20 stop, the 43.90 stop, and then I don't know why this chart doesn't have a level, but there should be another one around 4,200. Because I'm on Valeri's computer, I didn't move it on. Anyways, there's another one around 4,200. These all have priority. Once we get below 4,200, I'm going to have probably a brand new stop somewhere here to show the break. and then I can start looking at some older levels. But again, they require older the level, the more confirmation you need on those levels. The newer the level, that means it's more recent, then the volume should still be relevant around there. So we're going to look at those levels. They require less confirmation than something that would be older. At what point do you get rid of them? I think for me, if it doesn't fit on my screen, I can get rid of them. For me, it seems to be about a year or so. At that point, let the market discover the level, right? It'll tell you where it is. If you left all of them on there, you're going to have levels all the way down, and they may not even be relevant anymore, right? So for me, a year, based on the way my charts are set up, a year is good, and then after that, I'll just kind of let the market figure itself out. MCO 872, PayPal 90 cents, futures towards the lows. AFRM still working that 49. Brad showed you that iceberg at 49, right? It looks like 49 is taking on a lot of volume. It has broken a few times, but it's still taking on a lot of volume. And I just noticed that one of the alerts went off for me. Oh, not just one, a bunch went off. Okay, let me take care of this. I may be taking on some new positions.
For sure. Perfect time for me to talk about my Roblox trade that just got stopped out in profit. So I moved my stops down quite a bit. I just realized I'm staring at the 1 minute on this chart, but then I have the 3 minute on this chart. So I made my stop out for the 1 minute, but it doesn't really match my 3 minute stop. So I guess I stopped out by improper stop out on Roblox. Either way, stop complaining. You made $2.50 per trade over here, per share, sorry. So a dub is a dub, a win is a win. We'll take this win away, and we'll take this win and walk away with it. Something else that's in the money now, AFRM 20 cents in the money, moving back up in the north side, and PayPal. We added PayPal back at 118, giving it the same risk, right? We just added the bag a little bit more, closer to 118, bringing our average down to 118.52, and now waiting for giving it the same risk once again, and waiting for this rebound off those support levels on PayPal. So giving it a little bit of wiggle room. You know, one conversation that I actually had with a trader on the floor, his name is Luca, great kid. You know, a lot of knowledge on trading. I love talking to this kid, and something he mentioned yesterday was you know, having issues with his trading a little bit. So I mentioned I'm going to try doing what Arun does. Just take trades, give him a nice wiggle room, and then manage those trades. And I'm actually loving it a lot more, to be honest. I'm not in the positive, but I'm also not big time in the negative where I can't recover. Some of these positions that I'm in right now can actually flip my day around back into the positive and actually put me well in the positive territory. So like, you know, trying to incorporate new methodologies, new setups, new ways to trade, leveling up my arsenal of setups over here. So I would urge other people to do something similar. You know, if you need to scale down a little bit, scale down, try new setups, learn new things. Trying the same thing again and again will get boring, but at the end of the day, even if it's boring, it shouldn't matter, because as Greg says, it all looks same in your bank account. Boring setups and exciting setups, as long as you're making money. When that money hits your wire and that wire comes in, it all looks the same, baby. $1 or $2, they all look the same. That money doesn't care what setup paid you. So AFRM is moving in the profit direction. That's good. PayPal just isn't still, but you know, we won't worry about that one yet. Square being called out in the chat. Square is negative. Apparently, Square got an upgrade. So I only know this because obviously the homie Sean called it out. Where is it? Let's just go click on the homie Sean's page over here. Go read this. I believe, yeah, there we go. Upgrades here. Need to try for a long. AMD 125 bottom. AMC, will it hold 18? Ford 18. AFRM. Short 57-58 range. So yeah, go follow Trader TV Sean. Let me put up his page over here. Go follow Trader TV Sean, or do / Sean, and you'll find it. That's a sticky note. Along with our sticky note, we also have this guy right here. It's the TraderTV.Live website where our watch list is curated to you every day by Brandon. So you basically are getting free homework done for you without putting in the hard work for it. So go get you some nice free watch list over here. I'm trying to see if I'm on this page, because I don't think I am. Obviously, this page was created before Market Movers was created. So I'm gonna have to put a complaint in that me and Arun need to be somewhere in the back.
You need to be on there. I don't need to be on anything.
Arun caught it right away. Arun not
even,
slipping
bro.
ever. But who is slipping? Somebody is slipping. Guess who's slipping?
Who's slipping?
The chat. We only have 500 likes, so the chat's slipping right now. Chat, run that counter up, boys and ladies and gentlemen. Run that counter up. Run it up. Run it up. We want to see 1.5 at least. Actually, I'll let Arun come up with the number whenever he's ready, because right now I'm just happy seeing AFRM 57 cents in the money, baby, trucking all the way back north. PayPal, what did it just say? 40 cents in the money? That was probably dark pool. So ignore PayPal. That was probably a dark pool candle that said that was 40 cents in the money on PayPal. But we're pretty close to being in the money on that stock too. So let's go. Let's get back into the green territory today, and let's make some cashish, some dead presidents.
All right, I'm just going through the chat. There's a couple things. Arun, why are you so salty? Am I salty about what?
I don't think you are.
No, I didn't want to be on the
Oh,
on the
yeah,
page.
no,
That's
he
the last
doesn't
thing I
want to
want.
be peer pressured into doing extra work.
What do you mean?
Like you don't want to be peer pressured into like doing the show and doing the extra work. That's what I meant.
Oh, no, well, that's just me because I don't want to do it.
Yeah,
straight
yeah.
up. That's straight up. There's been a lot of requests. I'm just one saying nope. So don't worry, guys. You guys aren't the only one asking. Anyways, what was the other one? Oh, Drago said something about finally turning
Carl Drago?
positive, doing a different approach instead of scalping. Hey, scalping is a very, very difficult thing to do because you're constantly watching and reacting to flow on the screen. And that's a very thing to do, and it takes a lot of energy too. So my approach is a little bit more relaxed. As you can see, I've been just getting the trades, waiting on them, right? So not doing a whole lot. Once they start moving, you just manage. The money is adding up. Your job is just let it add up as much as possible. At some point, it's going to pull back. At that point, I'll be like, you know what, this trade's done. I'm going to walk away. So that's your job as a trader. Get the right positions and then let it work. You can't just constantly sitting there just punching keys, trying to lock in everything back and forth. That's a very, very tough game, and it's not for everyone. It's almost like you're trying to be like an algo without the algo part of it, right? You're trying to do it yourself as a person, as a human, with emotions and all that other stuff that's attached to it. If you can't be impartial, it's very hard to do. So definitely a tough game to do, and not for everyone. So just be aware that there's multiple approaches you can take, and if scalping isn't working, if scalping is exhausting, if scalping is very tiring for you, try something different, because it's not like that's the only way to do it.
Yeah,
There's
I
so
will
many
tell
different
you
ways.
that like scalping method, I would be so drained out on the way home, and even when I get home for this whole week, and even a little bit of a last week where you were like, okay, let's try something new. I have been having so much energy to go home and actually play my video games again. Like,
what?
I actually have energy to go home and play video games again. Like, I haven't had energy to play video games because like of scalping or like just being so driven to like learn every information that the market is giving me for the scalping methodology that I would not have energy to go home and play video games. But now I have the energy.
I don't know about you. I can't do video games. Like if I have time, and during the week I don't really have time. But even then, like when I have time on say Fridays. Say nights after my wife's gone to bed or whatever, I may be like, oh, I'm not tired yet, I'm not going to go to bed. I'll have time that day, right? Even then, though, I may not be ready to play. And I'm not even playing like crazy intense video games like you are.
Closer.
I'm not even playing crazy intense or like engaging video games. If anything, I'm probably doing FIFA with my buddy, or if he's gone to bed too, then I'll probably do Hitman, which is my new game. But again, they're
How
not
is that
super.
going?
I've done like a couple missions. Listen, it takes forever.
If
for
you're
me to
not
finish
playing
a
on the
game.
hard level, you're not doing it right.
I'm not doing it right because I want to
You're
be able
not
to
doing it
enjoy
right.
the game.
Yeah, no, that's enjoyment. The hardest level where it's so hard that you got to figure it out.
To me, not playing hard level right off the get go if you've never played the game before. That's like scalping for me. That's something that I can't. I just can't.
That's a good point. That's a good point. No, I'll give you that. Once you do finish, though, I do urge you to play that game on the hardest level because it is so much fun trying to figure out and puzzle solve it. You want to talk about anything?
Yeah, let me talk. A solution asked a very good question is essentially how do I manage a trade? So when it comes to managing a trade and cutting your losses quickly, So what I like to do is, before I even get into a trade, I want to know where the stop is, right? I'm going to use MCO as an example, just because it's a big winner, and I'm going to, it's a great example to use. So when I took a short on MCO, which was right here, underneath 48, my stop, as you can see, I have marked off as 351. So I'm risking about $3, but on top of this stock being very thin and a decent spread, I'm going to give it some slippage. I'll account for the slippage. I'll call it $1, maybe $1.50. So I'll risk $4.50 or so, right? Worst case scenario. So for me, when it starts moving, I know that based on what I looked at on the daily, I knew I had space, but I didn't have a ton of space. I knew once we got into the low 40s, I got to start working my exits. So I put some orders out there to get my fills. I'm getting out as it's moving in my favor, but at the same time, once it reaches certain points, I can start moving the stops. I'm not going to move the stop until I start getting information that, hey, I should be getting out. So I know I'm taking profit on the way down around 343, 342. I'm starting to work my exits. At the same time, whatever's left, whatever I've still got, I'm leaving the stop where it needs to be. I don't want to put a stop where I want it to be. I got to put a stop where it needs to be. And where it needs to be is where, if the market were to turn, if the stock were to turn, then that read, that short read, is gone. That's no longer valid. That's the only way I'm moving a stop. I need to see that my read is no longer valid before I change my mind. I'm not going to move the stop just because it's in the money. I need to be convinced that, hey, you know what? It's finally at a location where if we turn, we're done. This is not going to go. So for me, as we're moving down, I'm taking profit, but that's to protect myself in the event that it snaps back and takes out my stop, right? So I'm not rushing the exit. These are all targeted exits, but at the same time, the stop is going to stay where it is. And then once we kind of stalled out here around 42, 43, and then we kind of not snapped up, but went up a little bit and then went down again, I'm like, great. This pretty much is in the area where I thought there was going to be support. This stock hesitated there, tried to rally up or like move up a little bit, and then selling came in, pushed it down. So I know now that I can actually move this stop from there to about here, 343 and change, right? Exactly where, that depends on what you see on smaller charts, but it's going to be generally in this area. So now that it's actually starting to move, when I say I'm letting a stock breathe is I'm not rushing the stop. I'm not moving the stop too quick, but at the same time, I'm also trying to lock in as much as possible, right? That's the easy part. Well, that's actually not the easy part. That's actually the harder part. The management of the trade when it's winning is the harder one. Easy one is I took a trade, didn't work out, so I get out. That's it. That's a matter of cutting your losses. I know that if it gets to this point, I'm done. That's the easy part. You get in, there's a binary choice. You're going to make money if it goes down to a certain price, or you're going to get out if it goes against you at a specific price. That's the easy part, getting out of losses. Getting out of wins, though, that requires more finesse, and it's a matter of managing your trade, locking in as much as possible, but at the same time, letting it move, because stocks aren't going to move. Like in my case, where I messed up was AFRM, right? I took the short at the great location in front of 54, put the 56 stop, and then it started doing this side. You could argue that sideways action, but I was starting to see some buying, so I just worked the exit above 53. But if I said, oh, you know what, that's fine, then I would have no reason, even if at 52, I have no reason to take profit or move the stop. Once it breaks, say, the low of 51, then I know that if it came back above 52, which where we've been spending a lot of time trying to get underneath and couldn't, we finally got underneath it. If we got back above 52, then hey, this may have been a false move to the downside. Let's get out of it. So that's how I'm moving stops. And now if I were still short, I would just leave it. There's no reason for me to move the stop from 52. We're sitting at 49, but again, you got to take profit on the way down so you're not rushing the movement of stops. Because that, when I say let the stock breathe, that's exactly what I mean. You don't want to rush the movement of the stop. The stop needs to be where it needs to be, where the stock wants it to be, not where you want it to be because you're trying to protect cash or whatever.
Do you guys know what, I don't know, breathe? What do you mean, breathe? Bring me a shot. I don't know. I know you don't know where that's from, but that's from a Drake meme. I don't know where it's from either, but I think somebody tells him Drake to breathe, and he's like, breathe? What do you mean, breathe? Bring me a shot. Anyways, AMD, man, what a joke. My order, 118.50. Low a day.
Right?
No, I mean, I had to chase my long, but what a joke because my order 118.50.
Is it 5-0?
5-0.
Okay, so
Then it's my fault?
Yes.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
Help me learn then.
Okay. Just a tip: do not, but don't wait at exact round numbers.
Yeah.
Right, 50s, evens, because there's a round number, like people gravitate towards it. It doesn't always go through. It needs to run enough volume through the round number for you to get filled. So you'll see a lot on my screen. I'm sitting a few cents off the round number every day. It's going to be. I'll pick a different level. Like sometimes I'm sitting 3 cents off. Today's like offset's going to be 3 cents from the round number. So I'll be waiting 3 cents away. And then I'll come another day. I'll be like, you know what? I'm going to set 6 cents away or something like that. So I always have this tendency to lean towards a few cents away. And depending on the day, it'll always be the same in multiple names. So in today's case, I chose 4 cents away from 348, right? PayPal is a different story because I was actually fading it into the move up. But for the most part, most of my entries around round numbers are going to be off by a few cents. The reason being is because for you to get filled, you usually around those numbers, there's more volume. And
a lot of orders sit there too. Huh? Yeah, a lot of orders.
That's what I'm saying.
There, yeah.
So you're at the back of the line of those orders.
Yeah.
So you need to run through all that volume to get you filled, and usually if it runs through all that volume, it's breaking that level.
That's true.
Right? And we saw yesterday on a firm, it went right to 50 and it never broke that level. So if you were sitting on the same exchange that the other guy was on, you were never getting that filled.
Nope.
Right?
Yeah, so yeah, I should have applied that logic a little bit. You know, I applied that logic yesterday for a stock that I can't remember, and I didn't apply it over here. So 118.50 flat and 118.62 happens to be the low of day today on AMD. So what do? Immediately pull up the stock. I figure that I'm not going to get that fill, so I chase it at 119.32. I just added again at 119 even, so my average coming down a little bit. I'm going to keep on adding all the way up to 118.50, and if 118.50 goes, obviously we're no longer right on that trade. Just leaning on this the support line that I have on AMD from on the daily. So this is on the 21st of January, this is on the 3rd of February, and on the 4th of February. So we're coming back to test the lows of all 3 days over there, and if AMD takes it out, all right, no problem. We just go shop and come back on a different stock. I see that Ganguly was talking about AMD on the chat, so I think that you felt like you had to send a super chat just for us to notice. So if that was the case, I apologize. I know I was talking to you in the chat, my boy. And Prad, what do you like more, trading or playing games? Honestly, I like anything that's competitive, I guess, so I love both of them. The fact that I like trading is because it's so competitive, and the fact that I like games are only the games that are competitive. Like, I can't play casual games. Like, I'm not a casual gamer. It's got to have a ranking system. It's got to make me try hard. It needs to make me try hard. If it doesn't make me want to work for it, then it's boring. I might as well sit there and watch TV shows that I actually learn something off of. I can learn direction. I can learn screenplay. I can learn writing. Like, when I'm watching TV shows, I'm not just watching there like a dummy just to be entertained by garbage. Like, I try to analyze a bunch of stuff just because I like to learn stuff. So when it comes to gaming, like, I'm actually learning gaming psychology too. Like, there's so much going into these competitive games that it's not just point and click and shoot the person in the head type of game. So, like, you're learning a lot more than that. So if it's not competitive and you're just making me play casual games where I'm playing a teddy bear and I have to go pick up this brick from one corner to the other corner, that's not gaming for me. I'm sorry, that's not gaming.
All right, Pratt's thoughts on gaming. Very, you like the very engaged, heavily engaged games.
Yeah.
What are you playing right now?
Right now I'm playing Valorant. I'm heavy into Valorant, which is a first-person shooter like CS:GO.
What's that?
Have you played CS:GO, or do you know CS:GO, Counter-Strike?
Counter-Strike? Yeah, I remember.
So it's like Counter-Strike.
Okay. So what's it? Oh, is it on your mobile? Is that what it is?
PC.
So why did they? Okay, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say, why do they call it Go? But
no, they don't call it Go.
CS:GO.
CS Global Offense. And this was so long ago.
Okay,
this was before Pokemon Go even was a thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Somebody was asking, are you worried about MCO because of its low volume? Not really. On the way down, I have no issues because I've already taken profit on the way down, right? So now with a 30-cent spread, and there's like a few hundred shares. There's 200 on New York, 200 on, there you go. There's 1,000 on New York. There's a decent amount of shares to get out on, and the spread's not too far back. I can go all the way down to 3140, 4140, and there's a decent amount of shares. So I mean, that's not going to be a problem at all. Obviously, when it starts to move, it starts to obviously move faster, and a lot of these kind of disappear on you. But if you just hit it at the right time, and you also have to factor in iceberg orders, and you also have to factor in dark pools. So you're going to get the shares. It's not as thin as it looks because it does run about 800,000 shares a day or so. We're already at 650. So we can definitely do some volume. It's already on track to do more volume than it normally does. So volume or getting out of this shouldn't be a problem, especially at this point. I think if it had gone against me early on, that's why I factored in a $1.50 slip, right? It was going to be expensive because if my stop was 351 and it goes against you right away and you got everything you want and you want to try to get out of that, that's going to be a problem. At that point, you factor in, even though there's volume here for the next like 50 cents, I'm factoring in $1.50 in the event that I can't get everything I want. So it's just one of those things where you do have to factor all of that in ahead of time. I see a couple super chats there.
Yep.
Bradley Taylor, thank you, sir. I will see you on Tuesday, I believe, in our managers, webinar for the managers on our software. So I will see you on Tuesday. Another a manager from our Day Trade the World office out in Grimsby, I believe. Grimsby, England. I haven't been to England. Haven't gotten around to it, actually. I've gone to Portugal and Spain, but I haven't gotten around to England yet. So there's still a few more countries in Europe that I still need to do. And hopefully soon I can get going because my wife is on me about going to Italy. Italy. She wants some pasta. I'm all about the
some
pizza.
porchetta.
Yeah, well, I don't know if she's down with that. I'd be down with it. I eat everything. She just wants the wine and the pasta. Me, I want the pizza. I'm a huge pizza fan.
What do you like on your pizza? Like, the Italian pizza.
No, you don't want to get into that.
Calabrese.
No, you don't want to get
into
into that. That's going to be a problem.
Pineapples.
Because Sean's going to look at me sideways because he's Italian, and then Neil's just going to shake his head.
Listen, if it's not a Calabrese
pizza,
pizza, it's not pizza.
What's
right?
that?
Calabrese pizza. You need the proper meat, man. You need the Italian sliced meats. You need that Italian olive oil all over it. You need that guy spinning the pizza in the air. Mamma mia! If that guy's not spinning the pizza in the air, I don't want it.
All right. Well, I mean, I'm a fan, and this could not be, there's a divided group here. Even within this office, there's a divided group on Hawaiian pizza. I'm a huge fan. I like the combination of...
I like Hawaiian pizza.
Okay, there you
I like
go.
Hawaiian pizza.
I like the combination of the salty and the acidic component and the sweetness of the pineapple and the ham, or in my case, I actually go with bacon instead of the ham. And I like to kind of change it up a little bit. I actually add jalapenos too because I like the spicy version of the Hawaiian pizza, which is really good. So try that out if you're not disgusted by the pineapple. But yeah. And there's one more super chat. I think there was actually no. There's another one before that. LMK. Just another appreciative from LMK putting. He made 2K on puts on VIX and SPY puts and VIX calls. There you go. So people making money even when markets are doing, has done nothing since that drop. Essentially has gone, it's 10 points, I guess. But the drop was started at 11 o'clock, and then by the time we got to 11:15, most of that was done, about 20 points, and then we started going sideways, wider range, but it does seem like it's setting up the afternoon for some sort of a move. So we'll wait on that, and I'll just go through the chat. There's one more, another one. From Joe, Prad and Arun and Miss V, great team. Keep working together. And Prad and Valeria will be back on Monday, so they are not going anywhere. They're actually moving up to the desk. I wonder if your desk is ready.
Is it ready?
It doesn't look like it's ready. But you guys got a pretty solid setup.
That one's going to the pros first, and we get their washed up setup.
Oh, really? I thought it was you guys in the corner.
They get a new setup, and we get their washed up old used setup, dude. That's what they want to do.
All the cameras and the monitors and the lights that are going up, and that Mark's always on his ladder. Someone was saying Mark should.
Oh no! I thought you said you're taking this.
There you go. These guys are taking the brand new setup, and Neil just confirmed that.
Okay.
All right, what else we got?
Okay. So we do get the new setups. Hey, let's go.
Dorebo? I hopefully I said that right. Thank you for Arun and Prad Arun for the knowledge, and Prad for asking him the right questions. Learning so much. Hope we can get more of Arun in a while for an education stream. Something you're comfortable with, of course. Much love. Thank you so much. Dorabo, I believe, is the way to say that. All right. And what else we got? No, I got nothing else.
Well, I got something.
All right, there you go. What do you got?
AFRM, baby, 80 cents in the money, going north. Let's go. Appropriate stop, helping us out this time. What else is moving in the right direction? PayPal. PayPal was a little scary, I'll be honest. It got to 118, and I had to remake my stop based on the conversation that Arun and I were having not too long ago live. Basically, I moved my stop from 118 flat, which was my stop was if 179.99 broke, get me out of the trade. So instead of doing that, I did 117.75. So if 117.75 goes, then get me out instead of 117.99.
I'm glad you did that because I was going to give you crap for
So after having that talk, I
go.
immediately remade that stop because...
Oh, this was recent.
Just after having that talk just now, I remade that stop.
To be fair, you don't need to sit 25 cents away, but 1 cent past the even level is probably not good. I think like maybe 15 cents away is
15 cents, yeah.
15 should be good.
So yeah, I'm glad I had that conversation with you because this was getting a little scary. I was sweating a little bit, obviously coming down to 118. I thought 118 was going to break and it would stop me out. So I'm very glad that it did not work out that way. And AMD, you know, still not moving in the north side as I wanted to. I do have another order to get long at 118.75. Did not fill me. I'm just going to leave that order sitting there, not going to chase it. And if AMD can start moving north over here because the NASDAQ has already found the bottom and has started making its ascent to the north side, if NASDAQ can take off this this high over here in this consolidation period that we're looking at, that'd be great for my longs overall. Don't have really any shorts that I'm looking at. I was kind of looking for a short on NVIDIA in front of 250, and the idea behind that is over here, NVIDIA. So if you look at this 250 level, which was previously support, we broke that 250, and NVIDIA really struggling to get back above it and put 250 on the bids. But obviously, this could be the bottom on NVIDIA, and we could just get back above 250 and make a move to VWAP. So I'm not gonna take that short here because I don't think there's much room to the downside just yet. Maybe in power hour or so I could retake that trade and write NVIDIA down to 240 if market shows us more weakness, but at the time being I'm just gonna leave that bad boy alone. We'll look for more opportunities. Maybe where's Microsoft back up at 300. What is Peloton doing? Peloton currently at 34.96. Disney, I missed my opportunity. So I put down these two lines today, actually, this 152 and 156, based on this candle high, not the wick tails. So on that, based off of that, looks like Disney did bounce off of 152. So 152 long on Disney would have been a decent trade to take. But the low of day is 150. No, that's in the dark pool / pre-market. So ignore that. Yeah. I could have had a nice long in front of 152 that gave you a move up to 154.
All right, couple updates there. MCO, I'm done with MCO. We've walked away from it. The way it's moving around 340, I don't like it. So that locks in about $8 or so on MCO on the way down. So nice little short there. Well, and we're left with one trade, PayPal. PayPal is 80 cents in the money. That one I've had pretty much since the morning. So we're not going to be doing a whole lot, it seems like, as the market's bouncing. One thing I will say, though, as the market's bouncing, remember, we were all over the place with this trade this morning, right? We were initially short, then turned and realized that, you know what, I want to go for the long, and then the long lost the level. And now what I'm thinking is, on this rally, I'd like to take a shot at the short. Given what I'm seeing here, it kind of reconfirms what I was thinking this morning. It just got expensive to actually take that read. So I'm going to be back on the read here on the short side, fading the rally, and see if we can get a move to the upside or back to the downside as this market rotates. Now, this kind of falls into what Worldwide Imports was asking, I believe. Swing into next week? No. Yeah, AMD. Prad, you're on this right now, right?
Yeah.
You're long, right?
Yeah, I'm long on AMD, but he's asking AMD short or long for a swing into next week.
Yeah, so let me pull up the daily first. So the first thing I'm going to look at is AMD is a tricky situation, especially if you're looking at a 1 week time frame, because look at where it is, right? So we're at an interesting location here. South of 120, there's a gap going all the way down to 112. there's about, where's my highlighter? Pretty much from here down to here is a gap that can provide decent buy-side activity. So given that we're here, all we need is a reason to go for the long, and the long makes sense, right? So if we were to accelerate through that, then it becomes a much bigger problem. So you can essentially take the long with the setup on AMD and see if we can get back towards 132, or obviously if it just continues this little move, and I'm looking at this on a trend basis, and it's continuing its move. The trend is not broken, but we're in the zone here. If we can get the setup going, then the long makes sense. But if this were to continue, then you just got to wait it out. Wait it out until this breaks. If 112 goes, then the short becomes valid at that point, because then the zone is broken. The buy zone that's left is broken, and they have space all the way down to 100. So it's a tricky situation because it has got downside momentum. It's got pressure to the sell side. There's going to be small bounces here and there. But if you get the setup that you want, and depending on the time frame that you're willing to hold it, as long as it sets up well, then it makes sense. The risk on this trade is about $8, depending on where you get in, south of 120. But if you get the right location, you get the right setup, then you can actually get a decent payout on this, because your upside is more about 1.5 to 1 at the very least. So AMD potentially could be a multi-day move to the upside, depending on how it turns. That's the critical thing, because the trend is way too strong right now, with NASDAQ down 0.82, S&P down 0.25%, and AMD moving the way it's moving. You can try to pick those small little bounces, but the major trend is to the downside, but moving into a support zone. What else do we got here? Oh yeah, likes.
Yep.
Hit the likes, guys. We're at 789 likes, and we can definitely go. We've seen it. We've seen 2K on Monday and Tuesday, and we've seen about 1,500 in the last couple of days. So likes are definitely doable. Hit those likes if you possibly can. If you need to log into your account, log into your account and do it. There was another one that I was asking, or I was going to answer. Chevy Chase asking, are you open to be my caddy? Not much a golfer. I'm not much of a golfer. I hit the driving range once in a while. But, I mean, driving range for a guy that only ever goes to a driving range doesn't really mean I know how to golf, right? So I don't know if I really want to be...
Would you golf, though?
I mean, like, I think as a caddy, I mean...
No.
Out
with a friend and have fun golfing.
I've been asked to go golfing, and I'm just like, nah.
Why not? Like
no.
you, me, Greg, Sean, we should all go.
I don't mind the driving range. I'm not sure I'm much of a golf person. But as a caddy, though, like, am I being like... The way I see it, I'm like, as my job is to make sure that you're seeing everything, and you're gonna hit, use the.
No, your job is to carry the bag and be quiet.
Oh yeah,
that's what a caddy is. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, like, when I think caddy, I'm like, they're there to kind of assess the situation.
No. They just carry the bag and they be quiet.
I mean, no, I ain't doing that. sorry, but I ain't doing that. But yeah, no, I'm cool with driving the cart around though.
I've never driven a go-kart.
It's not a go-kart.
I mean, not a golf cart.
Golf cart. There you go. I'd be down with that, though. I can drive you around if that's what you want.
Yeah, I would love driving a golf cart. The golf courses that Greg has taken me to, I'm not a golfer either. I've only golfed like a handful of times. I think 3 or 4 times total each time with Greg. Had a blast. So I think we should go one time. I think we'll have a blast.
If you say so.
Going back to the market, I did take a profit on AFRM. Just one target so far, but we're still holding quite a big pretty much 90% of the bag still being held on all of it. AMD still struggling to move north, not really doing what we wanted to. PayPal kind of flat, AMD flat, and AFRM coming back down a little bit with the market. Long's working and not working at the same time, so just got to be patient. Obviously, time's going a little slow here compared to the last few days, looks like. We're at 12 o'clock right now, so that means lunch o'clock, lunch o'clock. Lunchtime is going to be for a lot of people. People are going to be looking to go for their hibachi lunches and their Nobus and whatnot, so expect volume to depreciate from the markets overall, and if volume picks back up, it'll be sometime around 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, and obviously we know the power hour from 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock that you guys will be live with Neil, Sean, and Brendan, so stay tuned for that. Currently, while I'm talking about my position, they're all turning around on me. So here comes AMD to the downside. PayPal is also going to the downside. and the only one that's in the money is AFRM. Looking for more opportunities, maybe Roblox somewhere. Ooh, Roblox actually coming back all the way up. Let's see if we can look for a short opportunity on Roblox, maybe RBLX. I feel like I already finished the trade that I wanted today, and at this point I would have to look for a different setup on it. So maybe a 70 short or a VWAP short. Not sure what setup I would like to apply to this, but at the current moment, just gotta leave this one alone, I guess, because the markets are getting ready to destruct. AMD, I should have had a stop. I guess I'm going to stop myself on AMD here because it did take out my 118. Wait, I said I'll hold it to 118 actually, so never mind. I'm good.
All right. The educational questions coming in. I love it. I mean, I would love something more to do than just trade. So here we are. Phil asking, during consolidation and you want to go long, better off entry off consolidation support or wait for a break above consolidation? It depends on what you're trading for. If you're good at range trading, then going off the consolidation support works because then you would be ready to exit near the top as well, right? So if you're trying to play inside the range, then trying to play the support long into the resistance out would make sense. If you're trying to look for a breakout before it breaks out, then I would just wait for the actual breakout to happen. It's cheaper that way, because when you do something like this where you're trying to go long off a consolidation and look for a breakout in the opposite direction, the accuracy I find is that it's not always consistent. You're not always going to have a move that actually goes the way you want it to. Obviously that's trading, but at the same time with ranges, it's even more like that, because a lot of times you're going to have false moves. So if you're trying to play support and then you're pushed out of your long because it broke the support level, but then just snapped back, came right back in, that's like a cost or a trade that didn't need to be done, because then you would have gone what? You would have gone for the long, lost on the long, and then gone for the short, and then lost on the short when it snapped back in. Instead of two losses, you can just maybe potentially take the one loss, which is the break down below, and then you lose if it snaps back into your stop. So that I'd rather just kind of limit my risk and my expenses essentially by waiting for the trade that I want to see. If I'm looking for a breakout of a range, just wait for the breakout of the range. There are times when you're like, oh my God, it's so much cheaper, or no, you make so much more money by trading within the range and the bounces, but you do have to pass that up at some point because it will turn on you. The odds kind of shift a little bit the more and more you take those trades. So for me, I find that it's actually much cheaper to just look for a breakout. If I'm looking for the breakout, it's cheaper to just wait for the breakout instead of trying to get fancy in front and then as it breaks, you get out and all that stuff. So it's just smarter to, I feel anyways. And that's what I do. I only wait for solid setups, and today would have been the third day I took a trade in 2 weeks while I was on the show on the futures. So I'm not that active. That also means that you got to be patient waiting for the exact criteria that you're waiting for, right? So when it comes to futures, I have my thing. When it comes to stock, I have my thing, and I'll wait for them. So I'm sitting in one position waiting for other things to happen. I've got an order out on the futures, probably not getting filled, nowhere close, but I do like the price. So I don't want to step down just yet because I don't like where it's trading for a new trade, but I do like the idea of if the market were to come up, I would like that short again if I can get it.
Austin in the chat goes, Prad, these Maggie noodles are fire. Hey, I've been trying to tell you guys, bro. I've been trying to educate you guys, not just on trading, but on good foods too. Maybe not healthy food, but good tasting food, man. Those Maggie noodles slap. They're busting. I don't know. I can't speak enough good things about those Maggie noodles. So congratulations for you to trying it out first and then enjoying it second. Let's go. People were asking about, I saw a question, where was it? About, I think it was Square, short Square, I think, SQNY. Let's go check out what Square is doing. Square is currently trading at 110 and 111 between both of them. 13 million shares traded so far. Let's go check out what Square is looking like on the daily. Block Inc. Obviously, there is support. Looks like that on the downside on Square at 107. So if you're looking for a $3 move, then yeah, I guess it makes sense. But then where is your stop, right? I guess your stop would be 112, 113 break. So you're basically risking $3 on the upside for a $3 move at the downside. So I don't know if that's the trade you want to be doing. So this 113 to the upside or for 107 out. So on that notice, that's a 1:1 trade. I'm just gonna call that a no. Maybe wait for it to go back to 113, closer to VWAP. Then you have a better entry, and most likely your outs being 110, 109, where today's low is on the downside for Square. So a little patience will be better. I think the long is already in play right now. The market's getting ready to make a double bottom, but if the market takes off that low over there and does not hold up at the double bottom or find support again on the way down at the previous low, then obviously market does not look like it wants to go to the upside. The greens the longs on my board will be destroyed, and the shorts will be back in play like they were off the opening today. And I'm only saying that because NASDAQ is down 1%, while ES is down only 0.4. What is IWM Russell at? IWM Russell should be down. Let's go check it out. IWM actually flat on the day, but in the positive side. Okay, and then Dow Jones also on Amex. What is this guy doing today? Dow Jones flat 0.1%. And I want to go quickly wrap before we throw it on to Arun for whatever he's ready for. I want to go do a meme stock review. AMC 33 million shares today. Looks like it's kind of stuck in previous ranges. Honestly, what is that noise?
Mark is unspooling
cable. So they're working on some stuff again over here. But yeah, AMC, we're waiting for that 20 short. AMC 1942 coming into play. Yesterday we did rip past 20 to 2098 though, so keep that in mind. Maybe not trying to short AMD then. Forget shorting AMC, sorry. We'll just leave the stock alone. The longs are in place still. I'll wait for 17.99 to come in or 18.60 to come in if I want to go long at the moment. Just gonna leave this guy to the side. Let's go see what GME is doing. GME with 1.2 million shares halfway through lunch, not bad. Obviously, GME usually doesn't do this much volume at this time of the day, but currently in the past few days has been doing a lot of volume. So the people are still trading it, especially since it was below $100 at one point, and now we're back above 100, up almost 4% on the day for GME. So let's go GME, trying to make a new high a day at the moment. What is the high a day? 127.33, and we're pretty much at 127.15 on the offer. Last but not least, my positions are turning back into the green. That means the market's probably having a nice little uptick over here, and my stops are still helping me out. Thank you, Arun, for educating me on how to properly give room for your stocks.
Right, letting them breathe.
Let them breathe.
That's it. That's probably going to be something you're going to be hearing around here a lot now that I've kind of brought that up. But yeah, just let your stocks breathe. And okay, an example that somebody was asking for an example. What I mean by the range breakout approach is, let's just bring up this, right? I mean, like, I'm going to call this the range just because, again, it's subjective because every person is going to see it slightly differently. And I'm just looking at this because it's a great example. And this is what everyone likes to do when they're selling stuff. It's like, oh, look at this. It was perfect. This is what I did. But to be fair, the logic in this situation, to me, is what I was trying to explain earlier, right? 200 at the top, about 120 something on, this is on Bill, by the way, 200 up top, 120 something on the bottom. Now, you can argue that, hey, as we get near the top, you can go for the short and then try to write it back down. But again, if this is the line that I've drawn, and this is the sideways action that I want to play, and I want to see if I can get a long off the breakout, then once we get up to this point, I would say that's a great breakout, right? At this point, you're broken out. Where's the fail-safe? Meaning, at what point would I get out? If this breakout fails, I would think it would be here, but at the same time, because of the hesitation around here, I would just move it a little bit further into this 160, right? I would just leave it be. What does it do? It decides that it never wants to come back past 200 and then takes out to 300. So for me, it is much cheaper to me take this long once we get the breakout than try to play this short and then have to go long, get out of the short and go long if the range actually gets broken. To me, that's just cheaper, right? There's always going to be some days where you're going to see this perfect range that goes back and forth. It all depends on what you want to do. Do you want to be that range trader that's okay with that. If you do it enough, then it'll be profitable for you. So in the event that it actually turns around or breaks the level, you're actually going the opposite side too. But for me, I found that I'm much better just working the actual break instead of trying to play inside as well. So this type of trade is much cheaper for me. So I just go for that, then you manage it, and then by the time you get to here, about 270, you're done. And then it continues going actually after to 340, and then it finally falls off, right? So, and that's kind of what I look at when it comes to ranges. It's just cheaper that way. So you're not taking more trades than you need to and putting more risk on the table than you need to. Oh yes, Eric asking about fib retracements and fib levels. I don't use any indicators. Actually, that's a lie. I will say the only indicators that I have are these ones. These are moving averages on the daily, on the futures. On the left-hand side, you have the NASDAQ. On the right-hand side, you have the S&P. These are the 50, the 100, and the 200. And the only reason, and I keep saying this too, the only reason I have them is because of institutional activity around these prices. Typically, when the market's trending, and the market falls off a little bit. Oh no, what did I do? What did I do? Where was that? Crap. I got to figure out where that level was. I think it was down here. Anyways, so the only reason I have them up is because if the market's trending and we come down to one of these trend lines, in this case, a buy, let me maximize this chart maybe. Say market's trending, we came around here, and this is a general area too. It's not a precise location. So a general area, I know that when we came down here on September the 20th into this 45.20 area, there's 100 DMA sitting here. There should be some activity from institutions that are willing to pick up some longs around here. So for me, all I care about is, hey, where is the possibility that there's going to be some big money algo buying at some point in this range? And clearly, it's not going to be precise to the dot, right? This was off by about 20 points, it looks like. But generally, when we start entering these zones, you're going to start to see some pickup in institutional purchases or sales. And we started seeing this around the 50, right? Once the 50 turned around, we started seeing some action around the 45.75, 45.80. That's one of my zones as well, as you can see from my chart, right? Well, it's not that chart, but anyways, 45.80 going up to 46.20. There's going to be some action. At the same time, though, there's also some previous selling from before that's going to provide some resistance. So those are the only indicators that I'll have up. Fib retracements and Fibonacci numbers and all this other stuff, all these other indicators. As you can see, my charts are blank. I don't use them. I don't know enough about them to give advice, let alone talk about them, right? That's something you're gonna have to, I guess, read a book or maybe watch another video, but because I don't know enough about them, I don't use them. I'm sure there's an argument that there's Fibonacci numbers in everyday life and that they work because people make them work, and that's all great and dandy, but for me, I care about volume. When I'm trading, I care about volume. Why did I get out of MCO when I'm still trailing? Because I started to see something around 340 that I didn't like. So why would I hold on to this, right? I'm just basing off all my actions on my trading on charts and where I think volume will be. And once it starts moving, where I'm trying to take profit is based entirely on what I'm seeing and what I would expect around certain prices. So that's kind of my game. I've kind of just gone down that road and I'm going to stick with it. I've tried the indicator. I've tried, trying to play with different indicators and just trying to, I guess, when you start off, that's what you do, right? You're like, oh, I'm going to use this indicator to help, or I'm going to use that indicator to help. And it gets very muddy very quickly because there's going to be so many conflicting signals. It's better off just, hey, at the end of the day, all these indicators they're just lagging to volume, right? There's some way of interpreting volume. Why not just go right to the source and look at volume and figure out how you want to trade that instead of waiting for an indicator to tell you that, you know what, volume's turning around. You can see it on the screen if you really wanted to look into it. If you looked at the tape, if you looked at the charts, the levels, and where you would expect some action to happen on the daily and the larger time frames, I think you could find that information without having to get an indicator involved. But that's just my personal opinion, and there's so many people out there that have made it work with indicators. So as you can see, there's so many different approaches that you can take, and I've taken one, and hopefully if you are going to go down the world of using indicators, you learn enough about them so you can make it work in that way as well.
Gotta call somebody out here. You're Yuri's friend, and your name is Johnny Kaz. So apparently you watch every day, but you don't engage with us. You don't hit the like. You don't hit subscribe. You don't hit the notification bell. Johnny, where you at, Johnny? Your boy Yuri just called you out. I'm gonna put you on blast over here in front of how many viewers do we have right now? How many viewers do we have? Johnny is being put on blast in front of 3,000 viewers. Johnny, listen. You're hiding behind a screen, so you got lucky right now. But, hey, man, don't let me catch you outside. Hit that like button. Smash that subscribe button. Hey, Yuri's going to keep snitching on you if you don't do it, Johnny. We got you on lock, homie. We're watching you. Hey, I'm watching you, Johnny. Come on, boy. Come on.
You don't want him watching you. That's not a good look. So just hit the like and get it over with, please.
Exactly. Everyone smash that like button. Get it up there. We're at 1K now. We're almost at 1.5. Let's get it to 2. We still got another hour and a half with the amazing Yoda to my right. Let's get some more questions going about my positions. AMD, sorry, not AMD. What is in the negative? Yeah, AMD still in the negative, but you know, not gonna worry about it. We're just gonna let it play around, breathe. Yeah, we're gonna let you breathe. We're not gonna bring you a shot. We're just gonna let you keep on breathing over here. Still looking for opportunities across the board. You know, obviously.
I actually want to answer Austin's question. I think a lot of people tend to have this question when it comes to futures, especially. It's like, do you trade based on time frame or tick charts? I don't really use tick charts. The issue with like non-time frame charts is that it entirely depends on the starting point, right? And the starting point, you'll notice that sometimes the chart looks one way, especially on e-signal. I can put up a tick chart. Let's just go on the S&P. We'll do, I don't know, 1,000 ticks or something. So a tick is, in this case, it'd be 1,000 individual trades, regardless of volume. And it'll load up, it'll just load up the candles for every 1,000 trades. This is what the opening and closing looks like and everything that happened in between, right? This is what, I guess, the 1,000 tick chart looked like for today. The issue with this is all dictated by the starting point. The starting point is obviously, should be 6 p.m. Eastern time for the US futures. Throughout there, though, sometimes you get bad ticks and they get corrected throughout the day. So this chart, you might see it like this for the most part, and then you'll come back to it maybe later tonight and it'll look different. Huh? Oh. Prad, man, come on, bro.
That's my fault.
Prad. Okay, so this is the 1,000 tick chart, and this is what it looks like right now. But once you close it, you say come back to it later tonight, and this is going to look different because the starting point may have changed, meaning even though it should be 6 p.m., there may have been more volume that wasn't counted that is now being counted, or more trades that should have been counted that weren't counted at when you actually initially load the chart, and then it changes. And then there's missed ticks throughout the day, there's bad volume, or bad packets, bad info packets, so that gets all fixed, and then all of a sudden the chart looks completely different, and you're basing your entire read on this, and it's changing on you. That's a problem, right? So that's my only issue with tick charts. So you'll see me a lot. I go with the 5. I'll start with a big time frame, like the daily, and then I'll go with the 5. And when I'm explaining futures, I'll do like 60 or something, just so I can see what the ground looks like, the layout looks like. But I don't really care for all these individual bars. I don't care for them. I just need to know that around certain prices, I'm going to see volume. I can clearly see a volume around 45.10, right? We're really stalling out around there. I don't care for the bars, but I do know that there's volume up there. So that's all I try to do. I try to interpret what the chart's saying, assign volume to it, confirm that with the time of sales, and then we can just move on, right? Instead of getting too fancy with different charts, especially ones that are constantly changing on you, that becomes a problem. So for me, I try to stay away from them. You want as much stability as possible in the information you're looking at when you're trying to make a read, right? Because if you're trying to size up, these levels can't be changing on you. These charts that you're looking at, that you're relying on, can't be changing on you, right? At some point, it's going to break, and you're taking trades that you shouldn't be taking. So my issue with that is that because they change, and it's not going to always happen, but volume gets missed at times, right? We have our this is the e-signal data feed I'm using right now, and at some point, there's going to be some trades that were missed that need to be inserted later into the data feed. So because of that, I try to stay away from them. And that's kind of my whole thing about it. And a joke, as I was seeing that question, somebody asked, or somebody mentioned that I actually use the constellations to indicate instead of indicators.
Constellations.
I mean, that's one way of trading. I mean, good luck to you if that's the direction you're going. But yeah, that's hilarious though.
I'm actually throwing up an order here to get short on GME at 131 plus, like above 131. GME moving up nice to the north side. The reason why I did that is this day high, which is actually yesterday's high, was 131.78. So my order is somewhere near that. Actually, I think my order would be a little too far above then in that case, but I'll remake this order to see where I want to get short. AMC made a new high a day. GME made a new high a day. Oh, actually, AMC came back under right away after making that new high a day. So we'll see if these can start moving again one more time. I am now full bag on AMD. So AMD, I have a full bag that I would like to have. Giving it that same risk again. If 118 breaks, basically 117. If 117.81 goes off, then I'll be done with this trade. I don't want to be holding it past that, waiting to see if the market could actually move AMD. Somehow the market, and by market I'm looking at NASDAQ, has made a higher high and a higher low, but AMD has just been sitting here by the lows, not really doing much. And if you compare it with the other chip makers, your NVIDIA actually went from 250 to 247, which gave you a nice $3 short. The idea that I had before, getting short in front of 250 and getting out of 250 breaks, ended up giving me a decent trade. But once again, I don't want to be taking that trade because I am still a little bullish on the market, just the way the market's creating higher highs and higher lows. I guess not really higher highs, but it has made a higher low and has kept getting blocked by, I guess, what number is this, 14,580 on the NASDAQ. So waiting for 14,580 or 14,600 to get taken out and go all the way to VWAP on NASDAQ, which would help me out on across the board for my longs. PayPal in a way better position than before, but AMD is the one that I'm sweating a little bit, obviously.
Turbo's like, Arun, teach Pratt how to trade. Pratt's learning. He's moving on up. So he's putting in work. Great long there. AMD long, right?
Yeah.
Great AMD long. So he's improving, Turbo. He's on the right path. He's hopefully he moved his stop after I mentioned that even level. Yeah. So he's picking up bits and pieces here and there
and applying it everywhere.
He's applying it. He's applying it in real time. And Chevy Chase asking, how come these guys have no cartoons? Well, it's because
we do. I'm just not used to hitting them. We do. Do we have the same board here? I'll show you. I think
it doesn't matter.
I can hit
it's not as many as the other guys do.
Oh, is our animations not working? It looks like our animations might be down, actually.
Yeah, anyways, it doesn't really matter. It's just they have a lot more because, well, one, they have two shows, and the show started with them. So there was more priority, right? This is somewhat of a newer show for Pratt and Valeria. So I'm sure they'll get around to it, especially after they move to the bigger desk. I'm sure there'll be more animations created and whatnot. But they'll get around to it. It's just, it's a newer show. So there you go.
Going back to, let's see what stocks are moving, anything going across the board. I'm going to go to actually this page over here to see what is the #1 volume leader today. Obviously, it's going to be still KAVL, still not doing 100 million shares. So it looks like the volume died down on that quite a bit. Let's go take a look at it. We were talking about it earlier, and then we got distracted by, I think, AFRM and PayPal. So KAVL on the dailies looks like it is... I'm trying to find a resistance level on the daily. Let's go check this out. KAVL. Look, oh, there we go. That's so obvious. Nice and even. $3 just standing out in your face and telling you there is a barrier here where you shall not pass. What's that guy's name? Gandalf just sitting there with the staff and just screaming, "You shall not pass," not letting the trades go past $3. So that's basically what I'm noticing. If you saw that level 3 and you shorted it, congratulations to anyone who's 50 cents in the money. One thing that is that I can't go on without saying is the boring action since the open. It's just sideways for how long now, and the VWAP is pretty much flatline. It's like those things that tell you your heartbeat and then it just goes flat when you're dead. That's pretty much what I'm looking at. What is that thing called? The heartbeat thing? The EKG, yeah, this EKG is dead for this stock. It's not moving at any pace, so nothing for me to here to trade. Obviously, when this EKG picks back up and volume picks back up, looks like it's actually trying to a little bit. Sorry, to my order. Perfect. Yeah, so GameStop is getting closer to my order. Actually, I don't even have an order, so it's perfect. I get to throw an order out soon here. Market's getting ready to curl back down. Let me quickly go back here to see on GME. Where are we? GME, I have that line at 130, 178. ECG. What does it stand for? Electronic
Cardiogram.
Cardiogram.
What's the first? E4?
Electronic electro. E always electro.
Electrocardiogram. There you go.
All right, so looks like AMD is gonna.
As you guys can find out, sorry about that, Brad.
No worries,
as you
you're
guys
good.
can find out, we really are sticklers for the terms and getting them right. So yeah, you were going to GME?
No, you're good. You're good.
No, you're talking about GME.
Yeah, I was just gonna throw an order out on GME. Still being patient. Obviously, I'm gonna only take fills above 130. That way, I don't have to risk too much, because if I do take a fill, I have to give it $2 risk. I have to give it to the break of 132. So I don't want to take a fill here. I'll wait for 130 to break, and then I'll get the fill in. So I'm gonna be a little patient on this side. AMD is what I was talking about. It did take out that 118. Finally, a new low has been put in on AMD at 117.94. Now the question is this going to be a weak break for AMD, or is this break going to continue with the follow through to the downside, because the markets are getting ready to go test the low a day again? So if you include all of those variables, it's a high chance that AMD stops me out here, and the long is not in play. So if I was to go long on AMD after 118, looks like that gap fill at 117 kind of stands out. So man, do I really have to remake my stop? I already got stopped out. There goes AMD to the downside. That's a wrap on that one.
Told you not to fight the trend.
Yep.
Hey, when the trend is down, we talked about AMD. It was trending down into a buy zone. So until that trend turns at some point inside that buy zone, you got to respect the current trend, and AMD was to the downside at that point. So you can try to catch those small bounces, but I think you got to respect it. Well, to be fair, you got to respect the trend, the current trend. Even if you want to go long, just wait for it. It'll turn at some point. It'll show you the volume, and at that point, you'll get going. This kind of ties into a question that was asked by Bradley as well. How do you identify levels, or not levels? How do you get traders to work with zones instead of levels? Because it's easy to look at GME as it is putting towards or going towards its highs at 130, but you got to be aware that above 130 on GME, you go back. Always look to the left, right? You always look to the left, and what do you see? Where are the highs? Where are the lows? Where are the closes roughly on GME going back to the beginning of January? And you're starting to notice there's a lot of action here around 135. So for me, they need to clear all of this to get through resistance. Even if we were to take out the high today, we're going to run into resistance. Doesn't mean we can't do it. It just means that there's a lot ahead. This market could easily this stock could easily just pop up and come right back down. So if we get above 140, I'd be like, okay, great. Now we have a chance towards 160. So my whole thing with zones is that you got to work previous highs, previous lows, and the closes, and where the majority of the volume would be inside of this area in that 130, and then you just sit on the other side of it. You just passed it. So round number, I'm going to move to the next round number. In this case, it seems like we're going to be working as high as like 137, 138. You account for slippage, and then you just put it, in my case, I'm saying 140 would be the location where I would be like, you know what? If we get to 140, we've cleared the resistance level, right? And then you have another one up here, up through 160. But the problem with 160 is, let me move this. Problem with 160 is if you were to mark it off, if you were to mark off 160, you start to notice that, hey, yeah, there's resistance here, but as I look to the left, there's support, great, but the support was a little bit higher than 160. It's actually around 170. So now I start taking into account all of this as well, because at the end of the day, you're trying to account for volume. Where is the volume? And clearly, we're getting some volume starting at 160, but it's not just, it doesn't end right there. It probably ends somewhere in the 180s. So you got to account for this entire area as resistance, right? Accounting the previous highs, the closes, old supports, old bounce levels, all of that stuff. So when I talk zones, that's what I mean. It counts a lot of information from the past where the market has really struggled to find any sort of footing to get past, or in this case, break through. So we got a bunch of support here around 165, then we kind of stalled out, broke underneath, stalled out around 160. So the beginning point of that whole zone is around 160, and it goes all the way up till you get past it all, which is around 180 or so. So when you're looking at zones, that's kind of the way I approach it. And it's, remember, every area or every level that you want to trade with is always going to have slippage. And I think something I've read from a book, I can't remember what the book was, but I remember it was early on, is that you have to look at them as fences and not like walls, because they can always flex. Levels are always going to flex, and sometimes I'll come on and talk about futures levels, flexing a little bit. That's what I mean. They can move. Means there's volume that's willing to come in just a little bit past that area, and that's perfectly okay. You got the general area right now. You just got to be a little bit more fine-tuned with it. But think of areas and levels as flexible points or a fence. And that way you're not so set on the idea, hey, if this level goes, I'm in. No, well, it can go, but then if volume comes in, it's not really gone. It's not, the level's not gone, or the area's not broken just yet, because volume is willing to step in just past that point. So at the end of the day, pretty much everything I've said today is pretty much, it all comes down to volume, right? That's what moves market, and that means you got to respect it. Regardless of what level you feel, it's got to be based on what the market wants to do around certain prices.
Not sure if you read these super chats over here. A couple 420 super chats coming in. Henry Z with the hilarious super chats. We are all going to make it, indeed. We are all indeed going to make it, my friend. And Vasil KH joining the Trader TV green side, the member side. Thank you for joining. So for anyone who doesn't know what that means, you could support us a couple ways here. Obviously, the show is absolutely free. Not a single dollar need to be spent on us. But if you do want to support us, what you could do, along with smashing the likes and the subscribe counts, I'm just trying to open this website over here if I can figure out where it is, because I have so many links open. So instead of just smashing the subscribe and the notification bell and everything, which help us a lot, you can hit join, which makes you a membership for $4.99 Canadian, or the American I think should be the same, $4.99 maybe. And
just probably safer to say US.
USD, yeah.
It's probably cost more.
Hey, I finally see store. So there we go. If you go to our homepage, click on store, you could go access our merchandise. So you could buy some of these merchandise for us.
I will say the hoodies are very warm. They're very nice. So the hoodies for sure, as you can see, that's all I trade in, hoodies. That kind of ties into what Javier was asking. Are you a stickler for proper attire? Should one wear Adidas socks with Nike shoes?
One wear Adidas? I mean,
I don't care. I'll wear whatever's like. I mean, it's socks. It's not being shown. At the same time, I don't care. I'll come mismatched with everything.
Yeah, I really don't care.
I mean, I am not high in fashion whatsoever.
But I did this.
But I do care for being comfortable. As a trader, listen, you want to be as comfortable as possible when you're trading, because you need to focus. You don't need to be, just because you're super well dressed doesn't mean that you're gonna be executing efficiently. You just need to be whatever you need to be efficient. So if that means dressing in a hoodie, like I dress in hoodies all the time because I'm more comfortable in hoodies, right? So what do you got, Brian? I see you got something on your screen there.
What I was going to show is, but speaking about that stickler for outfits and whatnot, I did do this, and then I got yelled at by a viewer, which is, so come on, load up. So I wore Nike Air Force Ones with Champion socks, and the viewer goes, Where's that comment? The viewer basically goes, oh, he deleted his comment. That's what I thought, viewer. That's what I thought. He basically making fun of me for saying that, oh, you should not be doing that. That's blasphemy, blah, 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 blah. And that comment's gone now.
Those are the fashionistas coming at you.
Exactly.
But I mean,
fashion police, dude.
I mean, hey, listen, fashion's meant to be, what is it? A symbol expressing your sense of taste or whatever, right? I mean, who cares what other people think? If I want to wear pink socks and walk out with like neon green shorts or something,
it's right here. It's right here.
If I want to do that, I'm gonna do that.
It's right here. No, not the Air Force Ones with the Champion socks. Gotta keep it clean. Nike socks, Nike shoes. Like,
Oh.
bro, come on, man.
Maybe that was Javier. That's why he was asking.
Oh,
See?
there you go.
Oh, he got my opinion on
That
your
was
thing.
Javier. There you go.
He thought I was going to come at you, but I'm not.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if you care that much about fashion, then obviously you feel some way about it. But I
Hey.
mean, you can see I don't care.
Today, I got the Adidas flop on. All right. Today, I got the Adidas flop. What the heck? Today, I got the Adidas flop on with the Adidas jacket. But I got the same Champion socks. Who cares, dude? Who cares? As long as I'm comfy, that's all I care
I
about.
will say though, when you come out like looking with this type of Adidas, like the one with the three lines on the
Russian
shoulders.
outlook?
No, I was gonna say, I say this to my wife all the time because she's got like some colors that I'm just like, you're coming out looking like a Euro mom, you know?
Yeah. I wore this today. I'm like, I feel like a Russian gangster today. I literally feel like I just walked out of like a bunker and I'm the Russian mobster. I felt it. I felt it in my bones. Something I did feel on my bones too is this AFRM launch. So AFRM did take out that 48.50 that I was leaning on. We are done with this trade too. Now the only trade I do have on board is this PayPal, and if 118 goes, basically we're gonna be done with this trade overall, and no trades for me left besides these. Market just took out the
changed the
lower
screen,
day.
bro.
Oh, sorry, I thought I was.
Yeah.
Market just took out the lower day, and looks like the longs are not in play just yet. So there goes PayPal to the downside. Looks like we're going to get stopped out in T-minus 30 seconds at this pace on PayPal also. I still got room to trade, a lot of room to trade for my shutdown. So I could look for more opportunities maybe later on. Obviously right now, most of these opportunities are going to have to let them play out before I look for a dip buy opportunity for the reversal trade that happens later on in the day. So just a little bit more patience, I guess, for my AMD and my what is MSFT doing? For my AMD, for my PayPal, for my AFRM, and even my MSFT over here, which is actually coming back to create a triple bottom, looks like. So I can't wait to...
I love how me and you are on opposite positions
We
on
are.
this PayPal.
Yeah.
You're out 52 cents, 55 cents. I'm still short up $1 and change. This is going to be an interesting look because the futures are actually going back towards their overnight lows, and we're about, what, 15 points away. So watch out below.
The 14,500? Or ES?
I'm looking at the ES, which is about 51.
Okay.
No, 54.50 is the low.
Okay.
So, I mean, we're at 71 and a quarter. So we're not that far away from, well, I guess we could be. 15 points is a lot too, but we're 15 points from the low. And if it starts to take the lows out, we don't have anything. As I mentioned on the futures before, we have a lot of space to the downside. If I were to go for the 60-minute chart so you guys can see that, if we were to move through here, we've got space. If we go through the low, man, we've got space into the 40. Well, once we get to the 40s, then we get the problem. But the issue with that is it actually probably sets off some stops. So you're probably going to see an accelerated move into that. You might find some support later, but for the time being, you're going to probably see an acceleration through the lows because of the amount of space we have until 40 at the very least. And that's another 15 points anyways. So maybe stops go off and, it becomes a mess. So the downside pressure is coming on board right now. And if the lows go, watch out. But my order's still waiting. I'm still waiting. I still want these mid-90s to get the short. I need to reverse course on the trade on the futures there where I did make a mistake earlier. Well, actually, it wasn't a mistake. It was a trade that didn't work out. So I'll kind of just look to spin this trade around, see if I can't go for the long, or not for the long, for the short, if we can get a pop. And that's what I'm looking for.
So double line CEO is on CNBC right now, and Sean actually messaged something. He said, Gundalk says he's seeing some recession indicators, but also I popped up my head and he says he doesn't think that the Fed will raise 50 basis points. So like he thinks the Fed's not gonna pull the rug on people, but also
you know what the CNBC does though? They bring out one person from either side.
Yeah.
Right. So you're gonna have one person say they're gonna see recession, then they're gonna have probably tomorrow have someone come out and say, oh, they're gonna see an economic boom.
Fed should have stopped QE a year ago, so obviously this guy's talking.
A lot of people do feel that way. It should have been done with a little while ago. This is a little kind of late move, but regardless, it's just one of those things where it's meant to have both sides, right? You're meant to see both sides, right? Why would this be a bad thing, and why would this be a good thing? And today they just happen to be talking about why that would be a good thing. Amazon Web Services are apparently down as well, based on Sean. So if you're trying to access some websites and you can't get to it, it's because of their
Facebook,
cloud.
Discord.
Facebook and Discord is down?
Facebook is AWS. Twitter, Facebook, they're all AWS.
All right, there you go. YouTube's still up, though. But
no, YouTube is its own servers.
Well, yeah, I know. But
Yeah.
like I'm saying is that YouTube, at least these guys watching YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Discord's down, Facebook's down. So be aware if there's some websites down because of an AWS outage.
AWS. I remember having to learn how to use AWS because I was a software quality assurance analyst. And if you're a QA analyst, you learn not only QA, you learn developing, you learn DevOps, you learn practically every single aspect of a development life cycle in a company. So that was a lot of fun. I learned a lot doing that job. I got back in on my AMD closer to 117, leaning on that 116 line that I was looking at over here, which is this one, 116.80, 116.70, 116.90. Still waiting on this market reversal, but obviously I think I'm a little bit early one more time here. This time a little bit smaller bag than before, so we'll see if this one ends up working. If not, then just take this loser and probably move on with it. User reports indicate, oh, that's the AWS one. What else am I looking at? Nope, ignoring that one. Going back to the chat, all bear traps, baby, be careful. Yeah, so obviously if the rug does get pulled, then these are all just traps for the bulls, or if the rugs don't get pulled, then these are just traps for the bears. Who knows who's getting trapped? Only time will tell, and only thing we can do is get into our positions and manage them to our best ability. Talking about Amazon's AWS outage, let's go check on what Amazon's doing. Amazon's actually down 2% on the day, still up at $3,000 though. And Google, I want to check on Google because I'm under the idea that it's just going to keep on going up for when that day comes out for, I guess it was July 24th, June 24th or something when the split happens. So I want to see what happens going into the split and how big of a rise does Google have, and do we go break out all-time high or do we keep testing all-time high? Currently though, off of that news, obviously off of earnings, we went to create a new all-time high and then immediately back into the previous ranges for GOOGL, Alphabet. Moving to prepare the bang, get reloaded. Obviously, those are Sean's things, man. I can't be stealing his things. I already steal all of his things from just by being in the room over here. You just hear it and you steal it. But we gotta come up with our own things, you know. We'll try to come up with something else.
Brad, you're original enough. You can figure it out.
Exactly. Brad, we spoke about 5 minutes on the opening range break AMD, and has been a great this week. Just to let you know, I love it. Let's go. So it looks like Bradley Taylor over there back testing the opening 5-minute range break strategy and trying to incorporate into his office. Obviously, decent setup for any beginner trader to learn from. It's kind of, you know, it's a little breakout setup at the same time, and gives you a setup to deal with and stick to those rules. And if you can't stick to a basic opening range breakout setup rule, then the chances are you can't stick to a more complicated process that you create later on in your life. So that's why I always tell people to try that setup out, and then if you don't like it, you don't like it, and it just teaches you things a lot. The downside to that is stock selection. I guess that's the downside to any setup, is your stock selection can make or break your setup at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Somebody, I remember a while ago, or not, a couple days ago actually, somebody was asking, hey, how large is your watch list? Well, I mean, like, I come in the mornings, I see what has moved throughout the night, obviously. We have earnings season right now, so there's stocks that I can look at that have reported last night that I haven't been able to trade, and this morning. So I go through them first, see what looks good on the daily that I want to trade. Then I'll start going through the pre-market movers, the ones that had a decent amount of volume. So I'll go through that. Then I'll go through this, you know, the eSignal hot list that, it's the hot list that eSignal has on its platform. And I can, you know, sort this by trade rate, or the ones that are trading with a decent amount of activity, or I can base it on volume, or the ones that have moved a lot throughout the night. And I can kind of look at that to figure out some setups. And think about this. I've got so many that I can go through, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to pick them all because I need that daily to set up well. And once the daily sets up, then I can take a look at it. Like MCO was done that way, right? MCO was moving around and it set up good on the daily. It showed up on the e-signal scanner here. And then I'm like, you know what? I'll take a look at that. And the only reason it showed up on the e-signal scanner was because of the move it made yesterday, right? It was quite an aggressive move to the upside from like 340 all the way to like 354 or something. And it just moved right into resistance. And that was my whole thing. We moved right into that 354 area. So when you start to stall out there, why can't I just go for the short? And that was my whole play on MCO, and that's how I found it. So I go through the different scanners and the different tools that I have to look at names, and then I'll put alerts out for them. And I don't let the alerts expire. So with eSignal, I'll just kind of, these are my alerts, right? I have 28 left. And I'll leave them there until they trigger. And once they trigger, I'll remove them. So they'll be in play for days at times. And as you can see, some of these have been around for a while now. Like I think ORLY, and I've got MasterCard and Merck. I put a lot of them down, and they just haven't triggered yet. And I'm waiting for them to trigger. And when they do, I'll take a look. Now, a few of them did trigger. NEWR was one that I wanted to look at. I never got around to it. But NEWR south of 75 is a trade that I wanted to look at because it was towards the lows. If we got a chance to get through the low, we could accelerate based on the way we were trading on the daily. We had space to go, right? We had space to go through this 76 and 75. Now where can we go? We can at least go down to here towards the 73.50, and the risk on this wasn't going to be high anyway, so I can make that type of trade. But I just never got around to it, and I also am not, I guess, I don't want to get too caught up in all these names right now, so I'm okay kind of just sitting back and not taking this one. I'll just ride out PayPal. What's another one that's gone off that I haven't taken? Qualcomm, south of 170 was another one that's been triggered that I haven't taken, right? Qualcomm, as you can see, breaking the daily support there. So that's an option for a short as well. That's got a lot of space to the downside if we can stay underneath 170. So I'm still waiting for that to kind of develop a little bit more before I take it. But for me, I'll set up as much as possible, and then whenever the conditions are matching or they get matched, I'll take the trade, right? It's just a matter of trying to see as much as you possibly can, and then we go from there. And a Piton went off this morning south of 35. I never got around to doing it, right? South of 35. But the thing with Piton, and we were talking about this earlier because you were trading Piton, or you were looking at Piton, right?
Yeah.
I was looking at Piton thinking it's stalling out around 40 or 38 to 40. There could still potentially be a nice little long on a pullback, but not today, right? South of 35 is why the alert went off, but I want to see a setup if I'm going to go for the long. There's a possibility of that happening, but given the way the market's been moving, that's not going to happen. It doesn't look like anytime soon. So Piton's, the alert's there just to remind me that I'm still looking for that, but I won't be stepping into this anytime soon. Qualcomm probably has the best chance of still going south of 170. We've kind of snapped underneath, came back. Now we're getting back underneath. I want to see some more trading, but Qualcomm could be one that's on deck for a potential new short.
Let's go over to the main man himself, Sean.
Yo, what's up? Wow, very humbling. Thank you. Yeah, in honor of the main man, Arun, today, we're going to go short on the Qs here, and it's just because the market's breaking here, and I just shout out to Bradley Taylor there on the chat who was asking for where's my out, and I just said, like, basically I don't have one, and it's because we are breaking lower, right? We just took down the day's low on the triple Qs. We were waiting for this to break right here, but it never really gave us, to retest the 50 period. We took it on that Jeffrey Gunlock news, right? We talked about that over and over, possible recession coming. I mean, whatever. I don't like when these guys talk because often they're talking up their own book. We talked about that before. But on this breakdown here into a Friday, I just wonder if the market is going to collapse even more today. Look at this. We're right at a 20 period. We're right at support. And I know Arun's probably talked about this a little bit, but we're at support on the Qs as well. So the NASDAQ, if it does break right now, better to be short now than before it, than when it breaks is my take on this. So it's coming back up, but I want to hold these Qs until we at least break back above here, 356 or so on the triple Qs. So let's wait to see. Maybe we have something here. I just feel like there's a swoon coming this afternoon. We're making new lows. It doesn't, there's really not much to make the market rally right now. We're out of our PayPal. We're out of everything. We're just waiting right now for the triple Qs. And we can talk about PayPal quickly. Probably out a little bit too early, but I got out the same time that I took that short. So our last trade in at 118.20, out 118.60, then out 118 break. So net, it's 20 cents positive, but maybe we should have held it. I don't know. We're going to wait to see if the futures continue to go down here, Brad.
Oh yeah, baby, let's go. AMD back in the money right now, 50 cents. AMD moving up, market moving up, trying to turn AMD back into a positive stock for me. Not too much room that I need for AMD to push. And if AMD can go all the way back to VWAP, I'm getting back into the green on the day. A firm stopped me out by taking me out on that stop, which was at 48.50, but looks like the low of day was 48.15. So I'm not sure if that stop was appropriate, because obviously if you go to a firm over here, you'll see that applying our homies methodology a little bit, the Yoda, it looks like the zone, which would have been technically all the way up to 46.50. So obviously getting stopped out in that zone itself would be my fault in getting stopped out in that zone. It's always my fault. That is true. It is always your fault on trading. So there goes the firm though, so we're gonna leave that one alone. But AMD, man, is actually moving nice into our direction now. 70 cents in the money. It was 70, now 60 cents. Took one profit target. We're gonna slowly take our targets here, go back into the profit territory. I am looking for that move to VWAP. Come on, AMD, get all the way back up there, homie. I love it. Something that I did miss out is this trade over here, Microsoft. Triple bottom, easy long. Did not want to take it because I was already way too over leveraged on my AMD trade. A little revenge trading. I love being honest with you guys, because how else are you going to learn about different trading psychologies if we're not going to be honest about ourselves here a little bit, right? So for sure revenge trading, but revenge trading with the setup. Revenge trading with an idea, revenge trading with the setup. My previous stop, inappropriate stop. So I got back in with a appropriate stop, because this resistance is going to act as a support, even though this support is going to act as a barrier a little bit for the time being. So giving it that appropriate stop this time. Let's see if 116, what high is this? 116.74. So I guess 116.50 gets taken out. Then we're 100% wrong on that trade. This time we're giving it, I believe, a little bit more appropriate leeway, a wiggle room for the stock to move around in.
All right.
10-year dropping again? Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, we're actually going to talk about the bonds. I just scrolled up, and IM Changer was asking my opinion on why the 10-year and the growth seems to be correlated now. Typically, you're going to have bonds and stocks move in opposite directions. Listen, my strength on bonds is not that high. I'm very kind of focused on one thing, which is the futures and I guess the stocks as a whole. But I do have some, look, I can talk about it, but I mean, by no means am I proficient in it. In terms of bonds, right? You're looking at TLT as the 20-year, and I'm just looking at bonds overall as a whole. Why would bonds start falling now? It would make sense. Well, the way I would see it, if you increase interest rates, that means new bonds pay out better than older bonds, right? So
if you increase interest rates, new bonds pay okay, got better, it. Makes sense.
Right?
Yeah,
they pay out better.
Yeah.
So that would make sense as to why existing, say, 10 years that are already already been distributed would fall.
The value
right?
if it's going
right.
down.
The correlation. If you're looking at the correlation, typically when you increase interest rates, or when you do increase interest rates, what you start to see is companies need to now pay up more to get capital for their businesses. So you have stocks falling off a little bit. That's that's up in the air. Some stocks will see that as a good thing because now they're able to capitalize because they're making loans out, banks, i.e. banks. But then other companies may have to take those loans and they got to pay higher interest rates. So stocks falling off makes sense. Bonds falling off now, I mean, typically they're inverse, but now I think the relationship has gotten a little bit muddied because it's probably more than just interest rates. It's the factor of bonds being distributed, I would imagine. I hope someone actually in the chat knows more about this. This is just me trying to process and try to make the link that I guess I'm seeing. But again, by no means you definitely need to go look more into it, because I'm not strong with bonds at all. I'm not that great. Like, my strengths are going to be stocks, futures, and stocks and futures, and maybe, no, I don't want to say Forex, because I'm not in tune with all the Forex names. But yeah, my strengths are going to be specifically futures first, and then stocks, and then even in stocks, it's probably North American, New York, and NASDAQ names. I'm not good with pink sheet names, all that names. So that's where my strength is, right? I'm going to tell you guys straight up. So yeah.
Still looking forward to see what I can do with this AMD long, trying to look for more trades. Let's quickly go through a list of stocks over here. Tesla, that 900 level on Tesla still acting as a barrier today. I was waiting for a 950 short. Obviously, we're nowhere close to that. And we can forget about that. GME trying to go back towards 130, I guess. We're at 128 right now. AMD, we're already in it. Microsoft, we already talked about it. Facebook, we haven't looked at Facebook all day. So Facebook's actually kind of at support, I guess. I'm not sure if that would be considering as support. 222.30. We'll see if AMD, or not AMD, if Facebook, Metaverse can figure out a way to find support on the way down here. Currently, obviously, creating a nice downtick, creating a new low a day as we speak about it. So if Facebook can find a support area for us to go long off of, maybe 220, maybe 215, we'll see what happens around those prices to react off of. Look, going through Roblox, because we were sure Roblox, what is our #1 stock of the day? Actually, I thought there was something better than Roblox for me, but that's going to be a negative. So Roblox, #1 stock of the day, crazy short off the open. Obviously, I'm glad that I'm done with this trade, because there was nothing much being offered to me over here. Is there a trade to be made? I guess you could look for a long at the double bottom, but if my direction of the trade today was short, it's going to be a little hard for me to look for longs in this stock. I guess you understand the idea behind it. I don't need to explain to you how the psychology works on that side. Obviously, the more experienced, the more higher level traders they are, they can play both sides and not worry about their psychology coming in the way. But with someone with 2 years of experience, I'll build my skills slowly. I'll build my skills one step at a time, 1% at a day. Keeps my piano at bay and the doctors away. I hope that rhymed in some way and helped. But what is helping me is AMD. Let's go, baby. 89 cents in the money. We're rocking. 118 just got taken now. Market is trying to go back to the north side again. So market did make a nasty red candle, which had me worried, I'm going to be honest. So I need a green candle over here. Can we get some green candles? No, more red candles coming in. So that has me worried still. But if AMD can keep on going north, I'll just be happy for it. 119, 120, any numbers above 119 means I am basically profitable on the day. So let's get these positions going. Come on, strap on these booster jackets.
I'm looking at your
booster
chart
jackets, rockets.
I'm looking at your chart going, you're really trying to catch every small bounce?
I am.
Why aren't you going with the main trend, though?
Because I missed the trend, that's why. So I'm trying to catch a reversal now.
But why not use these bounces to go join the main trend? If the main trend is to the downside, why not use these pops? Instead of trying to go long off these small pops and catch them, why not just use them to go short onto?
That's a good question, because also, like, I have always been a reversal trader. Like, I always, for a reason, like, if the stocks are going down, I look for a reversal trade a day later on in the day, which is obviously you're not sticking to the trend plan, right? You're not sticking with the trend, but it's just like...
the easiest money to make is when the stock goes into a trend and you just let it go.
Yeah.
Right? That's the easiest.
For sure.
When you're fighting the trend, that's
you're
good luck
stressed.
to you.
You're stressed, like me just now. For sure. I mean, I have no real answer for your question other than, just trying out things, I guess.
Hey, that's the only way you're going to learn.
Yeah.
But like I said, you're going to learn today.
You're going to learn today. You're going to learn today. Was that Russell Peters? No, that was Kevin Hart. That was Kevin Hart. All right. Arun, time to use your belt on Brad again. No, please. Down 28.78. What is down 28.78? Is there a stock that's down 28.78%? Looks like it is. SENS down 26.4% at the moment. SENS. Let's go check out what this one's doing. Should be on Amex if I remember correctly, and I do. 84 million shares on SENS today. Can I get the chart? There we go. Obviously down 26%. Anything down more than 10% on the day will be on SSR, meaning you cannot short the stock by taking off liquidity on the bids. That means you cannot put short 2.68. You won't get the fill. You have to put short 2.70 or higher, and the stock needs to go up for you to get that short fill. So keep that in mind if you are looking to short the stock at the moment. Just trying to throw out more orders here to take some scalps on AMD. In the meantime, holding some shares for my long profit. Has GME gone to the 130s yet? No. Looks like we actually have a high being established at 129.87. So I'm not sure if we're going to take out 130 because market's getting ready to go back to the downside here. Timber mode coming into market. New low coming in maybe? Let's see. I'm just stressing out looking at AMD going up and down, but let me focus, let me breathe. Woosah ah. If you go to QQQ, are we taking out the low at the moment?
We're getting close.
Almost, right?
I mean, we're getting close. I mean, okay, somebody was asking, oh, the QQQ is doing this, but the NASDAQ is doing, is not moving like the QQ is. Don't get too tied up in the relationship. It's an ETF versus the ETF, well, it's versus the futures, but the ETF is trying to follow the futures. They should be in sync with each other. If there's a momentary lapse, it's usually the algos. So I wouldn't be too worried on the per second relationship because generally they will move together. They have to move together just to keep the algos in check, right? The algos will keep the market in check, or to keep the relationship between the two, between the ETF and the futures together. So if there's a momentary lapse, I wouldn't get too caught up in it. I would always look at the futures just because I would rather go to the source, as I keep saying. I feel that, when you're trying to use a derivative, why not just go to the derivative that has the basket, right? In this case, the NASDAQ 100 already has the basket, right? The ETF now has to kind of create their own little basket and kind of figure out the price and the relationship with the Qs or with the NASDAQ and whatnot. So I prefer to just go directly to futures, but then again, you're also talking to the futures guy, the guy who only trades futures, right? So I would always prefer this over the ETF, but that's just personal preference. Also, access, right? It's a lot more expensive to trade the futures because of the upfront cost of getting into just even one contract, right? One contract on the NASDAQ is 20 times 114,500, which is about $290,000, right? One contract, unleveraged. So if you were to put up cash for it, and it'd be $290,000 worth of stock, essentially. So there's obviously a barrier, right? I think with margin accounts and leverage, I think you probably get it down to like 29,000. 10% of that is what I think the margin is on anyone trading at home and in your personal accounts and whatnot. So 30,000 just to maintain the ability to trade one contract. Yeah, it can get pricey. So I can see why people will move to other things like the ETFs. But be aware, there is micro contracts, which are tenth of the value. So
very liquid.
Very liquid. Trades the same. Actually, let me just quickly go over here. We're looking at this is the NASDAQ. This is a NASDAQ contract. So this is the one that's like $290,000 that you would need to take one single contract in it. And each point is $20. Right? So right now it's 28 by 29. If you got in and got out, it's going to cost you $20 just between the spread. Actually, there should be no spread, but there is a spread. Okay, anyways, it's probably just moving too fast. And then the MNQ is there for you as well, which is a micro contract, a tenth of the value of the other contract. So instead of being $20, it's $2 for each point. And it's going to be a tenth in terms of margin. So instead of being $30,000, it's going to be $3,000. So maybe more accessible to people. But again, if you want to trade the futures or you want to trade the ETFs and you have the ability to, if you can trade the futures, I would push people in the direction of futures just because why not trade the actual source? ETF, you got to deal with the algos trying to keep everything in line, right? So where is that? Right here, QQQ, which is the NASDAQ. You're going to have the algos try to keep everything in line. They're always trying to match whatever the futures market is doing, they're trying to match it, right? And that's a relationship. If it doesn't match, there's an arbitrage.
But don't they also move like based on Apple moving up and Microsoft moving up?
So does the futures, though.
Okay, yeah, fair. I
mean, they all have the same weighting.
Yeah.
Right? The basket is the basket. Like Apple has 12%, Microsoft has like 10 something, and they all have the equal weighting. right?
So is the basket in the futures and then the ETF is going off the futures, or is the basket in the ETF and the futures are going off the ETF?
I'm personally, this is my take on it, because the futures were introduced first. I'm going to say
So it has to be the futures.
the futures. I think the futures from the mid 90s.
If
And the
that was
ETFs came
first,
after.
then that was-
the
that has to be
ETFs
that.
came after, right? But the advantage, though, is when you have an ETF holding, when you have a, say, the Qs or the SPYs, there's dividends that you got to factor in,
Okay.
right? There's an advantage to holding that, because as a futures trader, you don't get the dividends, because you're not actually, you're essentially playing the basket without owning the shares.
Yeah.
But in the ETF has to essentially create the basket with the shares.
Yeah.
They've done the work for you. Instead of being like, oh, this is 10%, that's 9%, this is whatever, they're essentially going out and buying 10%,
the 10%,
and then
yeah.
creating a basket, creating the exact same basket, factoring in the dividends, also then charging you for creating the basket.
Got it.
And then obviously, because they should move together,
Does the
they're gonna be in
futures
line.
have like a fee like ETF does?
Nope.
Like a charging fee? No.
it's just
Cool.
a trading fee.
Okay.
There's no management fee, because no one's managing it for you.
Yeah.
It's just a contract that you've gotten into with the person that's written the contract, right? At the end of the term, which is every 3 months when the contracts expire, that needs to be settled, right?
Got
It's a cash, well, at least the equity futures are cash settled. So whatever the difference is will be paid out and figured out in cash, versus oil, you got to take delivery. So if you're taking delivery, good luck to you, because you need storage and you need like all these conditions to take delivery. And one thing I will suggest is, if you're trading commodities, anyone trading commodity futures contracts, be very careful about expiration dates, because you do not want to take delivery of whatever it is that you're trading, because that is going to be expensive. So know the rules of the game you're playing. If you're trading futures, then know when they expire, right? S&P contracts, NASDAQ contracts, they have 3-month expirations. Oil works on a different schedule, same way for other commodities as well. So if you're trading certain things, know what the rules are. You can't just step in and be like, oh, why did I lose? That's the one way to destroy your career before it's even started. I think a lot of people like to get into options for that reason. Because they want to make money, because they see other people making money. But then, like, you have to understand, options isn't just a straight up, oh, market's going up, stock's going up, I'm going to buy this. There's more factors involved. Volatility is a big thing, all right? Sometimes you're paying up the volatility premium. So even if the stock went up and you bought a call, the option might actually not be worth as much, because you bought it when the volatility premium was high. So you actually paid up for the volatility and not for the actual stock move. Now the stock has to move even further to cover the initial cost of it. So there's a lot to be learned. So if you are going to go down that road of playing brand new things, go ahead and do it, but learn about the game that you're playing, the field that you're dealing with. All that stuff matters, because at the end of the day, that's going to save you a bunch of headaches when you get around to it.
Can you tell about options? We don't really trade options
No,
here,
we don't.
so yeah, no point in doing that at the moment. Where we're going to, I don't see a point in buying ETFs. Well, for me, I see obviously, if you don't want to sit there, manage into diversifying your portfolio and do all the hard work, then you can just give it to the S&P 500, let them do the hard work for you. Kind of, that what, 7-10% per year promise that they give you or whatever. Well, not promise, but that's been going on for God knows how long now. So you can put your basket into that and just pray to God that it works out for you, right? But obviously, if you believe that you can beat the S&P 500, which is not the easiest thing to do out there, so if you believe you can go out there and do it yourself, then obviously you don't need to put your baskets into S&P 500 over there. Something that's going on is the market is getting ready to go test the low again, and actually taking out the low on the ES right now. QQQ also getting ready to go to the downside. That means I'm going to be sweating about my AMD trade
Chad,
one more
Chad,
time.
you're not Chad.
Oh, sorry, I'm
That's
not
what I said.
screaming
Pride,
my face.
pride.
Yeah.
You got it.
That means AMD trade's going to be sweaty one more time. So let's see what happens over here. I have my stop out, so I have nothing really to worry over that side. People are talking about QQQ. Oh, that's Sean. Sean's
the
short
market.
QQQ.
Yeah.
Palantir could go. Let's go check out Palantir. PLTR. Oops, wrong spelling. Palantir, man, that short on Palantir was nuts too. I let that go pretty quick. We held on to, we got most of that move over there and basically just shorting in front of the $14 level. I'm not sure if I want to go long over here on Peloton at the moment. Let's go check out what the daily looks like. PLTR, Palantir on the dailies. Yeah, I guess, you know, support at 1329, support also at 1341. So currently at 1340, looks like this is the low of day and we're trying to bounce off of that. So you could try to go long over here, but keep in mind the market is not giving you long trades at the moment. Here's your S&P 500 creating a new low of day today, and here's your QQQs creating a new low of day, also getting ready to go much lower. So weakness in the market, obviously. What did Sean just send? He sent this tweet, so let's check out what this tweet is. Afternoon jam in New York. Concrete jungle, do, 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 do. I don't know the rest of the song, so I'll just stop it right there. So Palantir, obviously we talked about this one. Where's SoFi? SoFi currently below $13. Ah, that hurts. Obviously we added SoFi to our we re-added SoFi to our long term. Oh, and I bought PayPal to my long term too. So let's check out where PayPal is. Nope, I guess I should have waited, huh? Obviously we didn't add too much. We just went with a light add on PayPal over here. I got filled at 119.68 or something. So we'll just leave the stock, let it see what it wants to do for another 2 years or so. We'll come back later. So going back to SoFi that we added with PayPal, in the negative, but looks like pretty much next to my average. I think my average now is around 1350 or 1340 if I remember correctly. So and it's concrete jungle where dreams are made of. Okay, good thing that I read the right thing and not what you put in, because that would have been a wrong lyric anyways. So we talked about SoFi. Let's go look at Donkey Kong, DraftKings. Obviously, with the Super Bowl coming in, with Israel Adesanya going against Robert Whittaker today, or not today, tomorrow. That's going to be a big fight. We also got Derek Lewis versus the Shui guy. What's his name? Tai Tuivasa. I can't say his name properly ever. That fight's going to be big. Monster fights this weekend. Monster gaming weekend. Not gaming, but sports weekend in general because of Super Bowl. So a lot of excitement, a lot of fun. I don't know if you can bet on like an artist falling off the stage. If you could, I'd bet on artist falling off the stage.
I'm pretty sure there's a site out there. I've heard about this where you can just bet on almost anything.
Yeah, like I want to bet on like Eminem missing a rap lyric.
There's always a place where you can bet on it because it's just a matter of finding it. But there's always there's some random site that will take any bet, even if that means artists falling off stage. How long that's a common thing. How long is it going to be for the national anthem? So that's a typical bet that's made. So there's a lot of things that you can bet on, especially, and there goes the 60s. Oh my God. Okay. Clearly I screwed up by that, giving up that short early on the futures and then turning around. Oh, that one still bugs me a little bit. That was I was looking to fade this morning move anyways, and then I decided to flip long. Oh, that makes no sense. I'm still going through what I did there and why I did it. But here we go, down to the downside. We're about a few points away from the lows on the futures, and if we take out the lows, like I mentioned, there's at least another 15 to 20 points before we hit any support. If we take out the lows, right? Obviously 50 is going to be a problem, not a problem, but 50 is going to be like the checkpoint because it's a round number. But then once you get past that, it's look out below, right? Our next zone starts down here. Yes, we're in some buy zones. Yes, there's some support on the daily. I see it, but the problem is that the way it's been setting up for the last little bit opens the door for this to actually accelerate and not slow down. So keep in mind that there's like 20 more points if we were to get going through 50. That this market has space to go to. Of course, like you can see, there's support here on the daily, but I mean, every day is going to be different how the market reacts to support, and it looks like today's case, it might be a snapback effect or a snap down move through that level.
Snap through the support for a more down, darker red Friday, Black Friday.
You need to change the screen.
Yeah, the Black Friday, is that what you're predicting basically? Arun? Are you just predicting a Black Friday? Well, not predicting. You're basically saying if that level gets taken out, there's a lot more darkness coming in today?
No, what I would like to do is I would like to set the possibility of, like, when I don't trade with, like, oh, if it breaks, this is going directly down there. I'm saying there's a lot of space for the market to accelerate through there. So I'm preparing myself for, oh, this market can go at least another 10, 15 points. I'm setting my expectations, right? So that I'm not surprised when it happens. If it were to happen. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. That's fine. But if it were to happen, I'm not like, oh my God, it's falling off a cliff. Well, yeah, we kind of looked at it and said, oh, there's a lot more space for this market to move. So this is not surprising, right? This is kind of my whole thought process when I'm trading these futures, is that I don't want to be surprised by stuff happening. Obviously, when news comes out, that's a different story, but I don't want to be surprised by moves. I want to see these moves before they happen, right? Like in terms of expectation, like, oh, we're moving 10, 15 points. Yeah, it had space to go 10, 15 points. So for it to actually move 10, 15 points is not surprising. Instead of like, oh, it's not going to go at all, and then all of a sudden it goes, and you're like, oh my God, why did it go? Like, be objective with what you're seeing. And in the futures case, here we are at 51. It is accelerating towards that 50s, 52s now, accelerating towards that 50. And like I said, there's space. So why not look for it? There can still be a possibility of a long inside of this 35 to 43.95, but 35 is still like more than 15 points away, right? So we've got some space for it before I would start looking for longs, but at the same time, respect the trend. You're starting to see PayPal accelerate to the sell side now. Right now, that's $1.76 in the money. Futures going down, markets going down, NASDAQ 1.86 down, S&P just crossed the 1% mark on the downside. So everything's starting to accelerate. It looks like what were you saying? Everyone's gone to their
the Nobu lunches,
their fancy lunches,
Yep.
and now they're back. They're like, maybe we should take this down a little bit more.
Yep.
I mean, if that's the case, that's the case. But it does look like the market's starting to slide in the afternoon, and it'll be quite a close because this has been somewhat of a quiet week for the most part, right? Apart from yesterday's CPI number, we got a nice little trend in a couple days before, but most of the movement was pre-market, and then we've got that CPI number down, what is it, like 50 points, snap back up, and then fell off throughout the day. And then today we're actually starting to develop some sort of trading levels, right? And now we're starting to get into some movement that you can actually start to work with. So this is going to be an exciting setup at the very least for today, for the rest of the day, and for next week, setting up the volatility aspect of it. And as traders, you want volatility. That's where the money is made, in volatility. Some stocks are, nuts, become very difficult to trade when it comes to volatility, but for the most part, volatility brings opportunity. And right now, I'm starting to see Microsoft just took out 298, which is the low. It popped up off my on my radar there, on my alert system. Gold, GDX taking off to the upside. So a lot of moves being made. The fact that gold is up 4% or 4.5%, 4.6%, markets down. There's a lot of Fed implications with this, right? TLT. Let's take a quick look at the bonds. Bonds are somewhat flat. They popped a little bit.
Sean.
So there you go. And we're going to go to Sean.
Sean,
I don't mean to interrupt, but apparently there's some rumors that that Russia is going to invade Ukraine at some point here. So that's probably helping with this. But we still are short the Qs, right? And this goes back to what Bradley was asking me. And it's just like, where's the out? And honestly, like, I'm just going to, again, like, just feel the trade out, right? I mean, we've been tanking most afternoons. This gave us a good shot right there. So we take it, and now we're $3 in the money on the Qs and still going to the downside. But I think that's an important headline to note there that, obviously if there is some sort of a move into Ukraine, you got to look at the world oil markets. You got to look at, just global uncertainty here as we go. Yeah, that's probably what just accelerated. And as you can see here, maybe you can talk about this too, Arun. Yeah. The volume is really picking up here on the Qs. I don't know what it's doing on your ESs or anything, but right now that is the new headline that I'm seeing right now about Ukraine and Russia. And also, obviously, just the movement down here on a Friday with, really nothing to look ahead next week. So watch out. Plus, I don't know if this is true or not, but there is a rumor going around, and I hate when they're rumors, but they're only rumors until they become fact, but maybe a surprise rate hike on Monday or Tuesday next week based on some of Bullard's comments yesterday, I guess. So, yeah, maybe some rumors there, but $3 in the money right now on the Qs trade, so just wanted to give you guys that update.
Yeah, well, let's come back to me. One thing you got to look at immediately when you think of that, or when you hear that, is you immediately look at crude prices, right? If you're thinking that, quickly look over to crude. Yeah, this has a lot to do with. So GDX popping has a lot to do with flight to safety. CL in this case the March contract, the H22 contract, went up $1.70 something in about less than 5 minutes now, and this has a lot. This is a geopolitical situation. You can see the move in crude, right? Doing a whole lot of nothing, and then boom, from 92.10 to now 93.67, and this is what the contract looks like right now, right? Not a whole lot of, well, I mean, this is what it looks like on a normal basis anyways, but it does look like crude is taking off to the upside. GDX is going to be the flight to safety, and futures, market as a whole, now accelerating, now at 45 to the downside. So here we are in quite a move, and you know what, bonds as well. Bonds are moving too now to the upside. Bonds taking off, 20 are taking off to the upside now. TLT has gone from 136.20 to 137.50. So all the big assets. If anyone's trading Forex, take a quick look at the Japanese yen. The market's closing on the yen, but at the same time, yen tends to be a flight to safety as well. So I want to see, actually, let me pull it up. And I'll take a look at what the Forex markets are doing, because this is going to implicate, or is going to be shown there as well. Yeah, bonds are going through 138. And where is crude now? Crude is still sitting at 93.67. So bonds are accelerating to the upside. So a lot of, between the rumors and what Russia wants to do with Ukraine, market's taking this in, it's taking a beating, all right. There goes PayPal. Now $2.28 in the money.
Yeah, everything's going the downside. So is AFRM. AFRM almost back to its all-time lows. Only $1 away from it, looks like. We're at 47.28 on AFRM, and the all-time lows on AFRM being at 46.50. So let's see if this down move in the market that stopped me out of my AMD long, that stopped me out of nearly everything that I had, is gonna maybe give us a long on AFRM at 46.50 or so. We'll see. Obviously, being patient at the moment, trying to see if market wants to cool off or continue its down move. Look at that volume increase on the ES. This is your main futures too, not your micro. So that volume increase on the ES obviously has to do with that news-driven, well, I guess like catalyst-driven, news-driven drop that we're seeing on the market. Here's your Nasdaq, something similar. Volumes are increasing onto the downside, so every level, every bid, every number on the downside just getting smashed. Looks like sellers are just going bid hunting right now because everyone's scared about what is going to happen. I did see some tweets like we might just go to war because to save ourselves from recession, and if that's the idea that we're gonna have to go into, then we better prepare, because markets looking like it's getting ready to go to downside. Obviously, Arun said look at crude oil, so that's something to keep an eye on. CL futures, let's go check. Are they at 100? They should be getting a little closer to 100 based off of that news.
93.55.
93.
It's the March contract.
Oh, I'm delayed. So 93.55 is where they're at right now. I see 92.04. That's because this platform, I don't pay for the futures quote, so I'm delayed by 10 minutes over here. I bought a bunch of UVXY calls. That one's actually hidden. For the financial meeting festival. Well, you're smoking here right now, buddy. You're 10% in the money. Let's go. You're absolutely right in this rocket ship. Hopefully that rocket ship does not look like the rocket ship from yesterday that blew up, which is ASTR, a trade taken directly from the Billions TV show. Neil and I were talking about it. This rocket goes up into the sky and blows up, and then everyone's getting ready to short it. You basically got this trade offered to you on a silver platter. All you had to do was watch the stream. The rocket was going up. Let me look something. Here's the thing. Rocket goes up. Oh, that's not. We're on Arun's screen. Rocket goes up, and stage separation. Oh, no stage separation. And then guess what happens? The stock halts and the stock opens up all the way down here. So I don't know if you could have gotten a better trade in your life besides that. Just all you have to do is watch that stream and just be ready to go long on a successful mission, or be ready to go short on the sad story of the payloads blowing up over there. So obviously, Astra getting beat up a little bit, something that we don't want get beat up on. That was what were we talking about previously? Not AFRM. VIX. Yeah, hopefully your VIX rocket ship right now. Look at this rocket ship on VIX. My goodness, that volatility increase is nuts. So obviously, hopefully this rocket ship does not blow up like the Astra rocket ship over there.
All right, I see you guys in the chat saying that there's on the Federal Reserve website there's a notice of an emergency meeting on Monday. where exactly? Because I'm on the website. I actually want to see this for myself. If it's on their calendar, because I couldn't figure it out in their calendar. Obviously, there's news articles about the speculation of that, but I would love to see it actually on their website of where it's been assigned that they have a meeting on Friday or on Monday. So I'm kind of late to the party. So just if you can just guide me wherever I need to go. In the meantime, crude now north of 94. What was the other one I was looking at? Crude futures now south of 30. I told you we had a lot of space on the futures. If we got through 50, we had a lot of space on the futures, and looks like the market wants to take use of all of that space. Now down 1.5% on the S&P, and yeah, we've cleared 50. We've cleared, that whatever was going to be that support area that was being looked at as a potential, right? Remember, we can get through supports. All we need to do is just get the market kind of going. And especially with the way we've been setting up for the last little bit, if we get going, it's going to go. And it looks like the market wants to take a look at some lows here. So with the market at 44.32, falling off about, from 72 to about 32, falling about 40 points in about 20 minutes. And that's what you've got to the downside. And that fall was done on about just under 150,000 contracts. So it's getting spicy now.
I have it here for you.
Where is it? Can I see it?
So closed border meeting on February 14th. Advance notice of a meeting under expedited procedures. It is anticipated. Blah 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 blah. 11:30 a.m. Monday, February 14, 2022, will be held under expedited procedures to set forth Section 26(1)(b). Blah 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 blah.
So they just tell you the meetings.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's under the where was it under?
Sorry?
Where was it under?
It was under federalreserve.gov.
Yeah.
Where I'll just send you the link.
No, but where on the site?
I didn't.
Oh, you just looked it up.
I typed Federal Reserve emergency meeting, and it was the first link that's not suggested.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, like I was looking at it, like it's not on their calendar, so maybe it was somewhere else. But that's when it happens, it happens. Maybe the market's preparing for that ahead of time, but it also had other things to deal with, right? This market has now crude is going to be a problem. Volatility risk has now shot up. You have bonds taking off to the upside. You have gold, a safety asset, taking off to the upside. So there's a lot to look at and a lot to unpack as we go into the weekend. So definitely keep your eyes open. Be careful at the close though, because with this much volatility and this much volume coming in, this could get very, very aggressive very quickly, especially if they go another 30 points, right? Right now we're sitting at 45.25. The bottom end of this little buy zone that I have is 43.95. So if we go through that, we go through that clean, it opens the door up, because once you go through that, let's take a quick look at the daily. Once you go through this area here, there's nothing stopping you to the downside. So if I were to pull that up on, say, the 60-minute chart or something like that, yeah, once you go through this, look at this. That's the last bit of buy zones that's left, and that's from earlier in January. If you get through that, what do you got? You have maybe here, which is 43.40 or 43.50. That's 50 points below. And then from there, you have about 4,300, another 50 points. So you're essentially starting to find support levels, 50-point blocks. So 4,400 is going to be the last little bit, 43.95 to be exact, is going to be the last little bit of defense in this market. And if the market doesn't decide to support any of that, it's going to be bad.
It is looking very bad indeed. NASDAQ 2.5% down. My goodness. Looks like a little bit of a flashback of yesterday when the news just comes out of nowhere and the market just like blows people's up. I know a lot of people that I follow on Twitter were like, oh man, what a day. I was having such a good day, and the news comes and then I break even on the day. And I just got to commend on them on having a break-even day even after such a disastrous, like a crazy move all of a sudden coming out of nowhere. I hope this move doesn't do something similar to those same people that I follow, who also help me out. Some of those people are in conversations with me. So all the homies over there, I'm praying for you guys that this move didn't take you out like it almost took me out today. I still have wiggle room to trade, so I'm just looking for the perfect opportunities, not taking any trades just yet, letting this fizz out a little bit, because these volume bars are not decreasing. Look at that volume bars on S&P 500 or ES. These volume bars are bigger than the opening volume bars on the down move. So this is nowhere close to being done, in my opinion. But once the volume dies down on the down move, then I could look for more longs. I'm still want to push a long on AMD for some reason, but I'm just going to be hands off on that. And UVXY, hope we're on me. We are on me. UVXY went as high as 1640, looks like, on the way down right now, but those volumes, that volume is still there. They're just hanging out, ready to smash bids again one more time. In that case, I don't want to be that bid that gets smashed. Great thing to point our Trader Prad. I don't know what I pointed, but I hope I helped you out on that pointing. Market's getting ready to curl over here a little bit, so I'm going to try taking a small AMD long. Let's see if it works out for us. Disney sub 150. Wow, Disney indeed sub 150. There we go. It's Disney breaking 150. Let's go check out if there's any support levels that we can lean on for Disney. Where are we? Yeah, Disney taking out that 151, taking out 150. I guess I'll just have to leave this one alone a little bit until it goes to 147 at this point. Where we looked at Disney, affirm butterfly OTM. I guess you're talking about the butterfly condor or option strategy. Obviously, that's options. So over here for affirm, where are we on affirm? It did go as low as 47.15, all-time low as 46.50. So if you are looking for a long, I don't know why you would be with the market weakness coming in and the scare in the marketness everywhere. So if you are looking for a long, though, you could try to get long in front of 47 and give that room to 46.50, or get long in front of 46.50, and if 46.50 breaks, you're just out of there. You're gone. Goodbye. Peace out. Bye-bye.
So I'm looking at the chat, and there's people saying that this meeting that everyone's looking at, like, speculating, it's a monthly meeting.
Okay.
I mean, like, I don't know. I don't pay attention to the calendar, but if it's a monthly meeting, it's just everyone's just assuming that, hey, this is going to happen beforehand. That's the issue with speculation. I mean, yeah, as traders, we're trying to speculate on the movement of stocks, but at the same time, this rumor mill of whatever is going to happen in this meeting all of a sudden matters now. If it's been done monthly, all of a sudden it matters because everyone's looking at the Fed and they're being criticized for being late to the party. I mean, deal with it when it happens. Be prepared for it. And I think that's my approach for everything when it comes to trading, is be prepared for it. So I'm looking at levels, I'm looking at stocks, I'm looking for setups. You see me marking off areas where I could potentially find some buys on the S&P. I said that if we got below 44.50, we had space, at least 20 points or so, 15 to 20 points. Now we're gone way past that. We're starting to find some support. We should find some support. If this market's going to hold, it's going to find some support. So in the event that this market happened, and I said, if you can rewind by half an hour ago, I said, I don't want to be surprised when the market moves. I want to be prepared ahead of time. I want to be prepared ahead of time so that when the market were to move, it doesn't surprise me. Right? So a 15, 20 point move, this aggressive move to the downside is somewhat like, oh yeah, we took out 50. Now we have space to the downside. So now we're in the zone where we can find some longs if the longs set up. Now this is quite an aggressive move. So I'm going to need a really proper, like a decent setup to go for it. But at the same time, just prepare for it, but let it happen. It needs to happen. Rumors are going to be rumors until we find out the truth. Now they always go, buy the rumor, sell the news. Or no, what was it? Yeah, buy the rumor, sell the news, right? It's because everyone's speculating all in one direction, and then it comes out and it's like it's not as big of a deal. So does that mean on Monday after 11:30, when there's no emergency rate hike, assuming nothing happens with Ukraine, this market snaps back up if that's what it's based on, right? So just be prepared for multiple scenarios, and then when you get to one of those scenarios which you've already mapped out, you just execute. And I think that's my approach to things anyways, and that's why I don't really react a whole lot to everything that's happening, because this is one of the scenarios that I've possibly looked at. A drop of this much into a buy zone, can I go for a long? Is it surprising? No. But at the same time, be prepared for it so you can make money on it. Like, there's always going to be things that surprise you, but nothing should catch you off guard. You can mentally prepare yourself for, oh, yeah, if it happens, there could be a nice little buying opportunity in this location, but then it's like, oh, it's gone 50 points. Oh my God, the world is ending. Not necessarily, right? So just temper your expectations and always be prepared for multiple scenarios so that when it happens, you're ready for it.
I hope Miss V is like already on her flight before all this happens.
She should be. If she's coming back to work on Monday.
She ain't on her flight? I hope she is before any of this happens over the weekend.
Yeah. Oh, that's kind of cutting it short. What about jet lag and whatnot, right? So I mean, like if you're, I mean, if you're working on Monday and you're coming home on Sunday night and you're going to be jet lag, that's going to be maybe. I feel like most people when they travel, they come back a couple days early so they can get back to it.
For sure.
But hopefully Valeria is actually back on her flight and
Yeah.
everything's good and there's gonna be no issues. But I mean, she's flying out of Russia, so I don't see how that would be a problem. I mean, it also depends on airspace too.
Exactly. That's what I'm getting to.
right.
I'm getting to airspace issues. That's what I'm talking about.
So-
I don't want no airspace issues blocking her flight, canceling her flight, or anything worse happening. So let's just stop the topic there. I guess stupid topic, anyways. Miss V, we can't wait to have you back safely, back in the seat over here or over there, wherever, it doesn't matter. Where are we going? XOM moving up strong. Let's go check out some energy stocks. XOM on New York.
Oh,
It
before
is.
you go on,
Yeah.
Lily's saying Arun saw 14 million possible scenarios. No, you look at well, obviously that's a joke, but you look at the probabilities of different things happening, right? When you look at the daily, there's a couple things that can happen. The market takes off to support, market takes off to resistance. You prepare scenarios for just like those ones. If it gets below a certain level, you can see acceleration maybe about 20 points. A few scenarios. Fade up top until 45.35. Something like that. Those are one of those, those are the scenarios that I'm talking about. Obviously, you can't go through each and every one. You're not a computer. Neither am I, even though I think like one. But, as much as that was a joke, you can't look at everything. You can't be prepared for everything. But the ones that are in front of you, you do have to be prepared for, right? And that's just setting your expectations when it comes to looking at the market as objective as possible and not being caught off guard by things that have a higher probability of happening based on where it's moving and how it's moving.
So XOM got called out. Nice little bump coming on XOM. So obviously, we always talk about stocks that are showing relative strength compared to the market when the market's doing something. And XOM could be one of them. Obviously, market was literally crashing over there. But XOM did absolutely nothing but go sideways a little bit longer. And now that the market has found the bottom and is rocking to the north side, here comes the volume on XOM. Where? To the north side. So XOM creating a new high date, up 1.61%. 1.61% at the moment with 20 million shares traded. So let's see how high can the XOM go along with the overall market move here. Waiting to see if market can keep on ripping north without stopping. That way we could see some more move on XOM and some other stocks getting extended to the north side. AFRM still struggling near $47, currently $47.45. Where's PayPal at? PYPL. Where's PayPal at? PayPal getting a nice little move up from 116. Looks like 116.08. Microsoft, is it back to 300? Not really. It did drop to 295, so I guess that should have been my long entry right there. Missed out that trade. Let's see if Microsoft has a move back to 299 even with this move in the market. Market's getting ready to show us weakness one more time. So let's see if this weakness goes all the way back to the lower day, and do we create a new lower day from there, creating another leg 2.0 for the downside over here. Now down 2.3% on the NASDAQ. Let me just do this real quick. Where did my other chart go? Chart. I need this one. So NASDAQ down 2.3% and your ES down 1.5%. And the volume coming down a little bit, so that's good. Obviously, we need some bottoms to be established on this down move. So volume getting back to a normal level.
Change it.
Change it. Sorry, volume coming back to a normal level a little bit. And we're looking to see if this lower day gets tested or a new lower day gets created. If a new lower day gets created, ooh boy, I don't know where AMD goes. I don't know where's Facebook. Did Facebook take out 220? No, Facebook is itchy.
Man got drunk. You know what the hilarious thing is? For the 2 days Prad wasn't here, I was the microphone guy. Clearly, I should not be the microphone guy. And I also had to do the switching. But again, that was between me and the guys. So I was learning on the fly. But when Prad got back, I'm like, hey, it's on you again.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
He's used to just letting it, I guess when Valeria's here,
Valeria
she
does
switches
it.
for
She does
herself,
it,
right?
yeah.
So there's no issues when Valeria's here, but clearly when it's just you or I, we have issues switching back and forth, and sometimes you get caught off guard because I'm like, I'm done talking, and then you start talking, and then you don't switch back.
Yeah.
Somebody was asking about PayPal. I got some out in front of 116.50, and I'm going to trail it just north of 117. I think we have more than enough there. So we're locking in from a 119.25 short to 116. That's like $2.70 or so, and yeah, it's 270, right where I just got out of some, and then if it goes back another 50 cents, maybe 50, 60 cents or so, I'll get out the rest. So that's a nice winner for us. I'm still a little salty about the futures position, though.
Lockheed Martin.
I saw that. Lockheed, well, it's a defense stock, right? So that's going to be one of the first ones to go. And there's another one, too. Oh, crap, why can't I remember it? LMT is one of the defense names. There's another one. I can't, it's not coming to me. So start looking at some defense names if you really want to start making some moves. We can obviously, with LMT taking off to the upside, hey, look at that, 400. The high is 397. You got to immediately start looking at 400 as a potential breakout now. Nice little bounce off that 384. Taking out 400 activates some brand new longs possibility. So especially with this news, you're going to see some acceleration, I think, in some defense names. Was it Raytheon? Yeah, there you go. Raytheon, RTN, I believe, is Raytheon. And there's another one, too, something Air. Is it not RTN? What is it? Is it RY?
RY is Royal Bank.
No,
Canada.
RYT. No, Raytheon is. I gotta find out what Raytheon. I thought it was RTN, but it's not.
Raytheon.
Maybe it's.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of them. Oh, there's an ETF too. Raytheon is.
How do you even spell Raytheon?
RTX. Okay, I got it wrong. RTX is Raytheon. Raytheon's not doing anything. Is Lockheed getting the contract? What is going on? If whoever suggested a Raytheon or Lockheed, it's not a defense name. Sorry, it's not a defense play because Raytheon's not going. So, anyone know why LMT is getting the news or the movement? Because that would be much helpful. Because I'm looking at the other defense names and it's not really going. So, Northrop Grumman is another one. General Dynamics, that's the one I wanted to look at because it doesn't sound like a defense name, but I thought it was like a cereal, like General Mills. But yeah, no, it's definitely a defense name. There you go.
All right, well, time to send it off to the closing show, guys.
We're done. We're done.
It is indeed 2 o'clock.
Signing off for the last time, guys.
I'll let you.
No, I'm done. That's all I want to say.
Sign on. That's all you're gonna say. You're not gonna say bye to the people.
I said my bye.
What? Oh, he's not gonna.
Oh, I'm not saying that.
He's not gonna do it.
No,
guys,
that's not happening.
Thank you, Arun, for coming by, for filling in, for showing some support. My vocal cords for sure. Thank you, because if I had to do that solo, I would have been probably dead for 2 weeks. So thank you very much for that.
Your partner is back,
and for educating me, for showing me your methodologies over here, guys. Hit the like button for this great Yoda over here. If we get him back, I'll be so happy. So make sure you guys keep pressuring Sean and Neil by emailing him. Until then, guys, have fun on the closing show. Paka paka.
Hey guys, welcome to the close, 2 p.m. That means 2 hours to go in the trading session and also the entire week. Big moves for futures, big moves for energy markets right now, as it seems more rumors flying around of a possible move by Russia into the Ukraine. So yeah, not good for stocks. On that headline.